Is this really the game statistic? Is this really the game statistic? He gave us shit reviews, our heart's desire, a Resident Evil and Tomb Raider road. He dared question the universe, and now games just too easy. Do they make you shoot up schools? It was all so breezy. Then came you, Laura, and part of his soul died. But what really broke the man was Shadow fucking Joyride. Then came you, Laura, and part of his soul died. But what really broke the man was Shadow fucking Joyride. Haiti appeared, a body that holds the lies. Just you and her, no feelings left, so cries. Her stare gave him strength, like the Holy Spirit. Suddenly there was hope, suddenly his soul was lifted. Wipe the censor from our eyes, come into our arms, baby. I can tell from those thighs, I know you're not a human lady. I know you're not a human but lady. I don't care. Oh, Haiti. Oh.
They're just pulling out old levels now. So,
I mean, I think that was like the whole. That was the whole point, though.
Get to it at some point. There's a PC version of it, or am I?
I'm playing it on
that's
PC.
that's what I got.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, is this a PC or is it an Xbox version?
I got the stream open on YouTube and just Gracie just, hey pal,
just
blowing from stupid tent.
I'm sorry, I don't
drinking that milkshake.
I don't have the stream open on.
That's fine. You don't need to give the game statistic.
Yeah,
any,
you don't really need that.
Click this thumb down button.
Gaming.
There
Yeah,
you go.
I'm gonna get in.
It's okay. YouTube protected my feelings, so I can't see them. That's fine.
I wonder what game Stat's gonna propose first for his.
I was actually gonna pick. I was gonna pick Mario or Super Mario Brothers 3. Actually.
Mario is missing.
Wow.
Yeah, Mario teaches typing. You know, it was very educational.
Yeah, from what I've been told about Mario teaches typing is that it's not even a very good typing game.
It's no typing of the dead.
There's no typing of the dead.
What the hell is typing?
No game is like typing of the dead. Not
That's
even
true.
typing of the dead overkill is like typing of the dead.
You know, you're kind of right. It's kind of, yeah, that they made a different thing there.
But there is a game with overkill in the name that probably should make this list.
House of the Dead Overkill?
Crazy Taxi?
Crazy Taxi Overkill, yeah.
Yeah, Crazy Taxi Overkill. That's a real game.
Man,
no, I just said it earlier, and now I've literally have forgot what came
Overdose?
before. No, what came before the Vita again?
The PSP.
I forgot it.
PSP.
Name just slipped my mind. It was so forgetful.
The
How do you
PlayStation.
forget Marcus PSP?
The PS Portable, or the PlayStation P, as I like to call it.
Yeah. What?
The Play SP.
Competed with a Nintendo dual screen.
I
Yeah.
ain't gotta play with no PlayStation. This thing looks like a deal, though.
It doesn't really look like that.
No, not really.
The PSP does not really look like it. It kind of looks like the PSP. I would describe the PSP. It kind of looks like a PlayStation Vita, but doesn't have the analog sticks on it.
I would say it's more like a Nokia N-Gage, but less controversial.
Oh my god! Where does the Nokia N-Gage fall on here?
The garbage bin. Where's the?
More like
what gen is the N-Gage on?
What's that
Yeah.
category with all the rejects below? That's where the Engage belong.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
so
The
the
game came
reject
out in
had
2003.
let's
so,
look here.
okay.
Xenoblade Chronicles and Sonic Adventure, two games
And-
that totally belong together on a list.
Put the Engage right next to there.
Yeah, and then the
I
Nokia
just-
Engage.
The Nokia Engage.
Just the console
Just
itself.
The whole library just belong.
That port of Pandemonium, fuck it. Aliens versus. Yeah, there's a port
Pandemonium's
of.
probably cool.
It's probably.
Hold on.
Is the Engage
Let me
version
look.
of Pandemonium?
Isn't there like a WWE game on the Engage?
Oh man,
Oh, I'm
dude.
sure there. Okay, I'm gonna look this up. What's the Engage?
WWE Aftershock. Yeah.
WWE
Oh, no.
Aftershock for the Nokia Engage.
Oh my
Hold
God,
on.
Chris Benoit's on the cover.
Oh, is he? Oh,
Yeah.
you're right.
There we go. The
Hell
Nokia
yeah. Oh no, no,
Engage.
no. I shouldn't say hell yeah to Chris Benoit in any
We
context.
should. And so is Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah, but
um,
he didn't murder his wife and child. So
But he is dead.
I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, so's the Undertaker.
So Edge
on.
is the only living person on the cover of WWE.
In the canon of WWE.
In the
Edge
canon of
is-
WWE, yes.
Do their characters actually just like die, like in universe, and they have to like come back as a new persona to like pretend that
That
there's someone
happened
else?
before.
Well, the Undertaker has done that, and I think Kane as well. But-
He's done that.
That's-
And the Undertaker has died a couple times. Though.
Yeah, he like showed up dead and then decided to be like a Kid Rock fan instead as his gimmick, and then died again,
As the kid, yeah.
and now he's a zombie. Well, now he's like a Republican, but
Yes.
he is
for a
once
while-
again a Kid Rock fan.
For a while he was. For a
Okay.
while he was like a World of Warcraft character, and
Nice.
then after a while, because who came back like once a year. I'm
Oh,
looking at a
shit.
screenshot of this game,
Yeah.
and I am
hold on.
looking at the most
I just fucked
polygonal
up.
ass Paul Bearer holding just like a yellow box.
I don't know
that
how
might be-
long. I
I'm
was
seeing
just on
like,
it.
seeing like Triple H with the fucking water bottle of pixels.
Oh no!
All right.
Right.
What was I know like Sega had a handheld like
Oh,
at one
Sega
point.
Nomad?
Yeah, there
The
it
Game
is.
Gear?
Like
No, I'm
The
so
Game
you're
Gear.
Game Gear.
yeah,
the
Game Gear. Wait, what the fuck was the Nomad?
The Nomad is just a Genesis. It just plays Genesis games.
Yeah.
That's all it does.
It's like how many batteries? Like 6? 8?
Like 6 like double D batteries.
Six
Both of
double
them
jumbo.
Take a
batteries.
zillion batteries. I never owned one of these
let's
things
see.
because it's before my time. But I'm just gonna okay. Um,
I assume that was like 16-bit ish.
That was
Right.
like that's like Gen 4 that competed with the Game Boy.
that could be yes. All this stuff competed with the game.
Sega.
Oh,
like-
okay.
Same thing
yes.
with the Atari Lynx.
The Atari
Geo Pocket?
what?
I don't know if we need to
Talk about the
like.
Atari
I don't
Lynx.
even know if the Game Gear's gonna have any representatives on this list. I don't know if we need to
What
dip into
are
the
you
Atari
talking
Lynx.
about?
Oh,
Everybody
there.
loves Tail Sky Patrol.
What?
Gesundheit.
Like a
Anyway,
Game Gear.
Okay, I'm just gonna okay, Jim. I just put something in our.
oh my God.
That's Paul Bearer.
All right.
I just
We've
needed you to
added
see
some
that.
handhelds. Yeah, was anything out there competing with the GBA? Now that I think about it, or was it just kind of just running amok on its own?
I guess the Neo Geo Pocket Color might go in there.
Would it?
Was
the
that
Neo-
like
let-
around the
let me-
same time?
I don't
'Cause
remember
think-
Neo Geo Pocket games.
I don't
coming out
remember
while the GBA was alive.
anything. Like this was pretty much just like its own. Like this is Game Boy Advance time.
Neo Geo Pocket Color, yeah, okay. It was discontinued after a year, and it went from 99 to 2000. So it just
Yeah.
like it dies around the same time the GBA is born. So it kind of doesn't really count.
I was gonna say Tomodachi, but what's it called? Tamagotchi.
Tamagotchi,
Yeah, you good little guy.
little guy, he's fun.
I knew people whose sisters had those.
Pretty sure I had one of those.
Ow.
Hey, sister. I'm all welcome to the
Hey,
club.
sister.
Hey,
Show
soul
sister.
sister.
You got
Hey,
like a little ringing every time you speak. Are you like a
Me?
yeah you?
You got a little feedback, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
Well, don't worry. The way that Stat streams these things out, the sound quality of all our voices is like terrible compared to his.
it is
It's just like the-
widely different. What do you mean? You sound fine.
Do I?
Yeah, like
Because I remember last time I remember the one time we did like the Mario race. I remember looking at the stream later, and I just sounded like I was coming over like a walkie-talkie that an 8-year-old owns, and I was like, "What? That's not what I sound like."
It's what we all heard. That
But we all
day.
heard.
I just believe I sound perfect in every regard.
Well,
Yeah.
that's good because you do.
Good.
Never changed.
You also do
Indeed.
have the next closest like good audio setup.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm like
you
speaking
do.
into like I'm like in a snowstorm.
Oh,
Like,
Oh, you're
Well-
using a Blue Yeti snowball.
I'm currently
in-
driving under the Brooklyn Bridge.
Okay. Don't dox your location, dude.
You can't. If you
Um,
want to fight me, I'm under the Brooklyn Bridge.
I'm using a Fifine USB cordial. Like I have no mixer or anything like that. I just have this USB microphone that's sitting on my desk.
wait,
Uh,
Stat, Wesker, who are the other two in the chat? Oh, like they don't know who you are. You gotta.
They
go
don't-
to
they don't know.
some new
They know
people. I
Wesker, but they
hear.
don't know me.
I think
Everyone knows
Wow.
I think you've been like on
You-
more companion streams than I have.
He
That's
has.
that may be true.
He actually has. Yes, he's definitely has.
I guess I don't have. I guess I just don't have Wesker's.
He doesn't have a persona.
I don't have. I don't. That's not true. I do have a persona, you motherfucker.
Oh no.
His name is Sonic the Hedgehog.
His name is Sonic the
no.
Hedgehog, and you should buy his game. My game, I mean. Sonic Frontiers.
If he were to keep this up for like the rest of this channel's lifespan, I would be okay with that.
That I am Sonic the
That
Hedgehog.
that he just is Sonic the Hedgehog.
That I just am Sonic the Hedgehog without like acknowledging it.
Jesus. No, that's
Well-
you.
Well, I added your handheld. So what was the pitch? Because I assume you had something in mind.
I mean,
Oh.
yes, but like, not like off the top of my head. It's just
What?
there are a million great handheld games.
Oh.
Yeah, here. Do you want me to pull one up, or does anyone else have any ideas?
I mean,
I've got
I guess-
one.
All
Go
right,
for
you
it.
know what? Go for it, RJ. Let's kick us off here.
Kick us off, RJ.
Donkey Kong 94 on the original Game Boy.
Ooh, this is a good game. I've played this.
Donkey Kong 94 for the Game Boy. Okay.
I've just always called this
uh,
Donkey Kong 94. I've never called this anything other than I've only ever called this Donkey Kong on the Game Boy, the 94
Oh no,
part.
I don't know what this is, but you stop walking at me. That was horrifying.
to answer
Okay.
Beige's question, Doctor, I guess the one
I'm
with the
Ryan.
dog is Ryan.
And I'm RJ. And that's all
Yeah.
you get.
Mhm.
This one's gonna be in color. Did you mean the version of it that's in color?
I think it's the same version. I don't think
It's the same game, but like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
did the
never
Game
played
Boy Color like enhance the visuals?
yeah, that and the Super Game Boy like gave some select games some color. I'm not
So-
sure how it did that, but it did.
Yeah, like was that like part of the hardware in the Game Boy, or were those games
No,
coded with
that's
color?
on the Super Game Boy. Like that cart
Oh,
itself
okay.
did special stuff.
But like this is a Game Boy. Or this is like one of the few OG Game Boy games I have that is not Pokemon, or I had. This and Kirby's Dream Land. This game. Oh, and what would another game? Well, I'm sure we're gonna get to. It's not. God, now I'm forgetting. It's not True Lies. My brother had True Lies for the Game Boy. I had. What's that Sylvester Stallone?
Dread.
Judge, yeah, I had Judge Dredd for the Game Boy, as well as this. I played far more of Donkey Kong than Judge Dredd, but I did get some good Judge Dredd hours in. This is a
You know
good
what's
ass
weird?
video
Like
game.
the art for Pauline actually just looks like, yeah, they literally just took this character model and
Yep.
just
Put her in
Fucking ret-
Odyssey.
yeah,
Yep.
they literally just went back to this. Did
They
not
didn't
change
go
anything.
back to Jumpman. If you look at like panel art, if you look at like the art in arcade cabinet for original Donkey Kong, and you look at Jumpman, that is not what Mario looks like.
Yeah.
Mamma mia.
Yeah.
RJ, you have
Paul?
something you wanted to say?
Yeah, I haven't played this, so
I was gonna say because I've played Donkey Kong 94 more recently than before because I've never played the I didn't play it as a kid is what I'm trying to say. I
Okay.
played it as a grown man and I
Okay.
realized the majesty of this game.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I did not.
whoa,
I
is
don't
he
know.
like fucking
I didn't know
cart
what
flipping
that
up it?
was. I've never done that before.
What the fuck?
That's some magic. That's some magic shit. Yeah, so I had this
That-
game as a kid. Because I had a very very late, like original Game Boy model. Like I did I even ever have a Game Boy Color, or did I just have that green block? I didn't have a Game Boy Color. I had a color Game Boy. is what I
He
had.
can just like jump to the. He can just
I
like
didn't know
flip
you
up
Yeah,
to
you
the
can
top.
do handstands and stuff.
I did not know you could do that in this game.
That just
Oh.
defeats the whole purpose. Then like you can just go up.
So but there's more to it than that.
Yeah.
Like
So go ahead and describe it. haven't played this in a
They
while.
added a bunch of levels that like you have to be able to do that stuff to pass. Right?
So
Yes.
as the game first starts off, you're literally playing OG
the
Donkey Kong.
original. Yeah.
But you can see Mario's got these handstands, and you notice there's a bunch of one-ups over here. And once you get through this part, the game opens up into a world map where you select where you're going, and it's actually like 10 worlds of crap.
Holy shit.
Oh shit! So it's not
Yeah.
just like here's Donkey Kong, but Mario can just cheat his way through it.
Yeah, it's way more than that. You'll see it after this level, I believe.
Yeah, because like I was just gonna say, like if it's just Donkey Kong and Mario can cheat through it, like what the fuck?
Honestly, Mario like doing all this crazy shit in the original levels looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
You just
it's
skip
cool.
everything. And there's even like a thing where you can grab the hammer and you can like throw it up in the air, then jump up and then grab the hammer again to go to like another floor. And there's like a bunch of cool moves that you can use or not use. You don't actually need them to get through the game at all. But it's like one of the first Mario games that has Mario have like a bunch of techniques that you don't need to use ever to get through the game.
Such as
Like Mario Odyssey, for instance, there was like a bunch of moves.
no,
in
I
that
mean like
Mario
what are
game.
the moves in this game?
Oh, so so one of the things is like obviously the handstand. You can walk while you're handstanding, and as long as you're handstanding, if a thing tries to fall on top of you, you'll like block projectiles that are about to hit you. You'll just like knock them off the floor, or they won't hit you at all. Then you can do like a handstand jump that gives you a little bit more height. I think there's a side flip from the newer Mario games. You can pick stuff up in this one, kind of like Super Mario Brothers 2. The hammer flip, of course. There's like tightrope walking, and you can like spin around on the tightrope and like launch yourself to get super high up in the air. And there's just like a bunch of different little things you can do that I don't expect to see in a Game Boy game.
There's also
So-
like expanding on like just the original gameplay of Donkey Kong. They added a bunch of
Yeah.
like different puzzles as well. Like there are items that you collect that like build
Let's get to the
a
middle. Let's see
horizontal
what's going on.
bridge that you'll need to place in the correct spot in order to like advance through the level. Like some of the items don't just give you points; they actually like do things in this game.
Rope climbing. Jesus.
Yeah,
Guys,
the rope climbing that they added from Donkey Kong 3 or no Donkey Kong Jr.
Yes.
Donkey Kong Jr. is there. Like you see here, like using the hammer to do different things that you didn't do in the original. Like it's like an amazing sequel to
To just like this really
To
simple
Donkey
4-level
Kong.
game.
Yeah.
yeah.
it's like some of those like 3D Pac-Mans, which are like a whole different thing. It's kind of like that where they like you know what I mean. We're like not in quality, but in like how they took like this idea and that's a pretty simple concept for a game and really stretched it into like a whole different thing almost.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't call it like Pac-Man Championship Edition level of crazy
Mhm.
in terms of its evolution. Because I mean that's in a league of its own. Like let's
Sure.
be fair. But this is yeah, especially as a Game Boy game, this game was
Oh
phenomenal.
yeah,
this thing was
Whoa,
like the
he
whole, like,
just builds
building
ladders.
ladders
Yeah.
and that whole
Holy
thing.
shit! What
The
is
person you're
going
watching-
on?
The person you're watching play this is very good at this. Like I know this is not a speed run per se, but this person has played all these levels before and is not sitting in like thinking about it. He's like, okay, I just do this, and this. So like these levels are like real head scratchers. It's not just like avoiding barrels and avoiding the fire and doing the simple, Donkey Kong stuff. It's like this whole problem you have to solve, and every one of them is different. And yeah, this is
Okay,
I have not-
you're selling
I
me
have not
on
seen
this.
this
So
in a
let's go
long
for effect on the culture. How relevant are we?
Well, don't think Donkey Kong, OG Donkey Kong for the Game Boy is gonna be, coming up in most people's brains as of today, so I don't think it's
No.
very relevant.
Yeah, if this was arcade Donkey Kong, that'd be like
Yeah.
tops. But this is
a sequel on a
A
handheld.
Game Boy
that,
game that no
I don't
one
think
really...
Billy Mitchell has ever played this.
right.
Yeah.
He's surprised if he had, and if he did, he probably cheated at this too.
Probably spilled hot sauce in someone's copy once.
I spelled hot.
Oh damn.
So what? Like a
So-
2?
Yeah.
Like not 0 because
It's
you know,
it would be a 2. I think I would say 1 just because it's a sequel to an amazing game that
Yeah.
but no one's played it or heard of
Oh,
it.
yeah, literally. I've never even knew this thing existed, to be
I
honest.
didn't know about it until like 6 months ago when Archer told me about it.
I feel like this would be a great, like, I'm making a top 10 list of original Game Boy hidden gems. Like, this game's
Yes.
number 7 on
That-
that list.
Yeah.
Be on like racketboy.com.
Yes, it would be on. Let's go to racketboy.com and find
Remember
that
how they're
out.
doing?
Not great, I imagine. I really like racketboy.com,
Yeah,
but
they're still up.
oh yeah, they're still up. I just don't know.
Rarest and most valuable Sega Dreamcast games. All right, I've been distracted.
PlayStation Portable PSP 101, a beginner's guide.
What about what are we talking? What about its gameplay though?
The gameplay. Phenomenal.
Yep. Controls. Is this like given everything, if we just were saying make this game again today, would it come out like this exactly? Or would it be
A little stiff. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
because it's trying to emulate the movement feeling of Donkey Kong to some extent while adding these extra moves in.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes out like they did a good job of trying to blend those things together. But I mean, you know, Donkey Kong is a game where the joystick only moves left and right, basically. And you're playing it on a GBA. Well, I was playing it on a Game Boy D-pad. I guess if you played it today and you're playing it on a different input device, maybe it would feel different. But you know, it moves like Donkey Kong to some extent, like original Donkey Kong. So not
To
perfect.
me, it felt like it had that sort of stiffness to it that you're talking about. But
Yeah.
when I think of Mario games and being stiff, original Mario for the NES, to me that game just feels stiff to me.
Does
And
it?
yeah, I don't know why. That game always felt like it's like a stiff jump. Because
Yeah.
you don't have like full control over your movement. But this one doesn't have that, so it feels a little bit smoother.
I mean, it has mid-air control. You can do the low and the high jumps. Like, yeah, it's not as refined, but it still had
Yeah.
that stuff.
Mhm.
Stat both on this Discord stream and on YouTube. The doc's kind of hard to read.
What?
Each like the text on the Excel spreads.
Yeah, I
sheet's
can't read this
hard
at
to
all.
read.
Excel spread sheet?
See the
Zoom.
speed sheet.
Can you just zoom in on it a little bit?
Yeah.
Hold on. Here, no, you know what I'm doing? How about this? How about that?
Oh,
That's a little better.
Yeah,
Like
I've just
turn on
the,
sharpness.
yeah, the quality was like a little bit low there.
Okay. I just wanted to like get a screenshot of the category so I can like keep circling
Keeping
back
it,
at-
yeah. I'm just kind of hop back and forth. I basically, yeah, I don't think it deserves, like, probably not even perfect. It's just, because it's it's just left, right, use items, do what you got to do. I really
remember,
wish I played it.
It's a Game Boy game. You only have A and B, start and select.
yeah.
So for what it is, like when you ask the question, if you remade it today, would it be like this? It's like, well, if you remade it today, you'd be blanking for different hardware that had like more buttons on it, literally, like just had literally more stuff. You
Because
could do
we
with
do
it.
stuff like this, like even like games today, like they have simplistic controls, like Meat Boy would be one of them, where it's just like, nah, you just move and jump, and that's about it. So, yeah. If
Yeah.
you were to we're gonna make a port of Donkey Kong, use whatever you got, expand on it. Is this how it would feel to play, in a sense?
I think it depends on how faithful you want to be to original Donkey Kong. Like,
Mhm.
would you want a version of Mario that like has a run button like most modern Mario game, like every Mario game does, or do you want the Donkey Kong thing of no, he only moves at one speed? Because that's what this game has. You cannot run. He's got that one speed.
Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm asking is like this exact thing they're trying to do. Like we want him to only walk. It's more puzzle based. Like, is this how it would feel if like we were just, hey, try give it a go again today?
Well,
what would you come out with?
Ryan, did you ever play Mario versus Donkey Kong in the
March
GBA?
of the Minis, yeah, all those games. I have not.
Okay, because I'm trying to remember like how those felt, and I'm drawing
Those were
a blank
like-
because I didn't even
like-
finish the GBA one.
Yeah, those were like DSiWare games or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they try to make follow-ups of this game like later, and I do not know how those play.
Yeah, I don't know how this plays. I'm just seeing a guy who knows what he's doing play the game, so I don't really know. Like,
this guy is moving through this game. It's really something.
Something you think like someone could just about anybody could pick up and play and like get through.
Yeah, but probably not move as like smoothly as it, but like it's not a hard game to wrap your brain around.
So would you say like a 15 or a 20?
I would probably go with like around a 20.
Yeah, like it's not perfect, but it's solid.
And then
system utilization.
Yep. So you got the puzzle solving, you got all this shit, you got maps. Like, it seems like it's using a lot, honestly.
It uses a lot. One of my favorite things is every time you reach like a midpoint of the game, usually after beating Donkey Kong for another time, it shows a cutscene of stuff that Mario can still do in the game that you may not have done yet, or how to interact with a piece of the environment. Like, I didn't know I could handstand when I first played the game, and at one point Mario does a handstand, and I was like, is that something I can do? And I started messing around with the controls, and eventually figured out the handstand button and was able to use it exactly how they explain it to you in the game. And I love how they do that. I think it does a good job of utilizing everything.
Out of 20.
I would say, let's say 20%.
Full
the full? No, yeah.
Brian, you think you concur?
I mean, if you consider the base of what they have to work with as the original Donkey Kong, like how would you make a? I can't imagine making a like more interesting follow up to original Donkey Kong while also keeping faithful to original Donkey Kong. Like at some point, to do something even more extravagant, you're not making Donkey Kong, you're making Super Mario Brothers.
Right.
And to like go back to that old arcade game and do this, like,
or even like Wario Land or something.
Yeah, like I would have to give this pretty high score. Like that's probably the highest. Like that's the thing that's most impressive about this game is just how far they expand that idea. Like imagine if they did this with like Balloon Fight or Excite Bike or something.
They kind of did. There's a Balloon Kid on the Game Boy.
There is a Balloon Kid on the Game Boy, and it also kind of owns.
Yeah.
Oh,
Goompy Yokoi, man.
Yeah.
Right, it's just these random NES games that just get like banger sequels we just don't know about. Okay.
Yep.
So 20 points.
Sure.
Yeah.
How well does the game convey information?
Conveying its information.
Well, it doesn't tell you exactly how to do that like handstand flip thing. I think it kind of figure out the controls. Or you might have to read the manual to actually figure out what you do.
Is this something like in its manual? Is like.
I don't think any of us has a DK94 manual.
I did at one point in my life, and I probably, at the time I received it, probably could not read it. You know, because I was very, very young when I when I owned this game. This was a Christmas gift. It's also the reason I couldn't get very far in Judge Dredd, if I'm honest, because I didn't understand how to go through doors. But
I mean, I think a good game would tell you with or without a manual. Like there's definitely ways to show players like how to do things, even in these like older games, like Mega Man being a good example.
We're gonna talk about. Well, I'm not gonna get to that. There's a couple things that it could maybe do a little better about. Like you said, some of these movement techniques it doesn't explain, but there are things where like the making the bridges or like the the walkways. Like it does a pretty good job of explaining that. It's not too hard to figure that stuff out. I mean, this is definitely, because of its nature as a puzzle game, it is a lot of trial and error. Like the gameplay we're watching is someone who does not have to do any of that trial and error. But if you are playing it for the first time, there's a lot of like, what do I do here? Like, how do I solve this problem? And so, but that feels more that doesn't feel like it's not telling you what to do. It feels like it's not telling you what to do intentionally. It feels like it wants you to figure some things out. And I think it leads you along
that's
enough.
a puzzle.
Yeah, it's a puzzle
game in a sense. But like, do you understand like the things you have to work with? So, like I saw like when he's hitting like the block, and it shows like the screen freezes, like the ladder goes up and down. Like I think I would kind of get like, oh, I can just like spawn a ladder, or I can just. Versus like you said you beat the game without the handstand, so that's more or less you just kind of finding something. Oh, you didn't?
No, I beat like the first couple of levels without the handstand, but not the whole game.
Yeah, but like, are you able to beat the whole game without ever using the handstand?
I have no idea. I've never gotten that far.
Because if it's just like, oh, here's a thing that makes it easier, but you don't necessarily need it. That's one thing, but if it's like, here's this crucial thing you need and the game doesn't tell you, like that's a whole nother ballpark.
I feel like you go a good chunk of that, not a good chunk, but maybe like at the start of the game, they don't introduce you that like, needing the handstand until later on, I don't think. So I think they eventually tell you, but I don't know if they actually tell you the control for it. Like, I don't remember that much. Like maybe if you scrub back to the beginning, maybe there's like a short clip of him being told the controls like in the little video that they have. Well, I'm not sure.
So are all of us not able to speak on this?
What are you asking us? What are you asking us?
How well does it convey information out of 8%?
I would say there's maybe a couple things it could have like had a longer explanation of. Like it could have, like you said, some of those movement techniques, but for the most part, yes, it conveys information very well. I wouldn't give it full points, but maybe take 1 or 2 points off.
Like 7, 6, 7.
Yeah.
What do you want to land on? Like, is it such a detriment that it loses 2, or just like it just has a little?
I would say 6.
Clear.
Say 6.
Yeah.
Does that feel fair?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right.
Sound design. How's the sound?
Design.
I'm
trying to. I've been trying to listen to it this whole time.
Well, you're the only one who can.
It's got a lot of blips and bloops. I don't remember any tracks from it, so that's
nothing about this sounds is remarking to me is super memorable. I think the sound effects, if I recall, they tried to keep like the jumping and the hammer to be like the original.
Yeah, it sounds like his jump sounds exactly like that.
Donkey Kong, yeah.
I'm just trying to see like, did they stylize it at all to like try to compensate for their hardware? Let's see. Yeah, it has the little jingle that plays when he gets in, but it's pretty much just standard, as the British would say, standard banter for the Game Boy. There's nothing that makes me go like, wow, I can't believe they made this on the Game Boy.
No, I don't think. I mean, it's not that it doesn't sound bad, but it's just it's fine.
Yeah, like this is like it is serviceable as it comes for the GP, just average. So like
it's might be like one world that stands out as like, oh wait, this one was like particularly like good, but
I don't remember it.
Like I would give it like 2 to 3, for like its average.
Out of how much? Like I still can't read this, unfortunately.
Like 2, 3.
Yeah, I can see. I don't know what full points is because I can't.
It's 5.
Read it. It's 5.
Oh, yeah. Here.
Okay, there we go. Sound design, yeah, I think like 3 is fine.
Just average. So we can see the visuals they probably would like. And here we go.
I think the way that this game both looks, like they keep the style of Mario and like you mentioned Pauline to be like accurate to original Donkey Kong, as well as like expanding upon it and making it feel like they added new levels and new worlds with new personality and new all this stuff is really cool. I actually really like the way this game looks.
As far as this is a Game Boy.
as far as I mean, it is a Game Boy game. Like as far as your
Oh.
metric of it doesn't look like the box art or the thing. Like you're right, it doesn't because it's a Game Boy game. It's not going
Yeah.
to.
Pretty much.
But I really do like the way this game looks.
Same.
Um,
I enjoy the way. I especially love the animations.
Yeah, like Mario has like a lot of personality, and he has like different personality than he does in like the other games.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Is this
Donkey,
little cabinet thing like around the game? Is it like the
this
Game Boy
is the
screen?
Super
and
Game
this-
Boy's
Super Game Boy.
border, because
Yeah.
Game Boy
Oh.
obviously had a smaller screen. So this whole thing is not normally there, and the game is also not in color.
Yeah, because I was gonna say like, holy shit, like they just have like this little arcade cabinet thing like on the end,
Yeah.
like that's pretty like that's endearing.
No, they didn't do that. It's just like how in like Pokemon Stadium, the Pokemon games would have the little border around the side.
Yep.
If you played them there. I mean, I like the way this looks a
You had to
lot.
give it a score.
What is
you give
what is it out of?
5%.
Oof, like probably
I'd
like
give
a
it a-
1 or 2.
Yeah, so this is your
Give it a
metric.
4.
I can't. I would say a 4, but this is your metric, and I can't.
Well, usually
when
when we come to this, yeah, like I just kind of average out our stuff. So like if I'm saying like 1, you guys are saying like so do we have like 2 4s?
I'd say
Or-
4, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like I'm saying like that's a 1, and then you're saying a 3.
I have no strong opinion, so looks cool.
It is yeah.
So we come out with an average of 3, and then sum of its parts. So yeah, this is probably very strong in that category.
70%. That's full marks.
It's like one of the few Game Boy games I would recommend you play now.
Yes.
It's like there's not a
Yeah,
lot of
like-
Game Boy games where it's like, oh, the Super Nintendo version's actually the one you want to play. This one is like a unique thing that I mean, they didn't.
Right.
This is not a port of a Super Nintendo
Mhm.
or even NES like Donkey Kong game. Like this is better than the NES Donkey Kong game because it's not the NES version of Donkey Kong. That helps.
But yeah, it's not like Tetris where you can play Tetris on anything.
Yeah, like this is its
Or-
own thing. It's very like hardware appropriate. It's very period appropriate. It's very like unique and cool.
It's
so-
I mean, the reason why we're talking about it versus
Yeah.
other, versions of games
Donkey
that
Kong.
also are on the Game Boy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's exceptional for being a Game Boy game. So yeah, I'd be
It's-
fine with
So
it.
basically, you're saying like if we just slap a new coat of paint on it and literally just made this exact game, don't change a thing. Like just give them this exact game, but it's just updated coat of paint. Like would people be like, yeah, this slaps?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you mean by updated coat of paint.
I think like if this came out on the 3DS with like new Super Mario Brother graphics, people would still be like, hey, yeah, this game rules.
yeah,
And like yeah,
Yeah.
don't change a thing. Just like same puzzles, same everything. Just like yeah.
I think people would be into it. I think it'd be. I mean, it would feel very different, right?
Mhm.
It would look very different, and that does matter. But like I might be the one person who's like, well, I actually kind of prefer the original in that case. But yeah, I think people would be like, oh yeah, they took the Donkey Kong formula and made like a newer puzzle game around it. That's really cool. Because that's what it is.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah, I think it works with its hardware very well. I think it works with its concept of the arcade game very well. I would give it a lot of points in this category.
Six,
Yeah,
six,
same.
7? Yeah, like
I'd say
it's
7.
it's coming off like like this is definitely
Yeah.
like holy shit, like why is this game doing so much for the sequel to Donkey Kong?
Yes.
That's kind of the thing of like they really went all the way for a sequel to Donkey Kong.
Holy
I mean, I
shit,
love original
guys.
Donkey Kong. It's a very it's a great game, but man,
God damn, dude. you just you have the original game in there, and not only that, you just have like oh, and by the way,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, here's
It's kind
10 more worlds. It's like,
what?
it's
All right,
very cool.
so it sounds like you're talking very high about its fun factor. You feel like a lot of people would kind of cling to this one.
Yeah, I got a full 6.
Yeah, unless you hate puzzle games.
Yeah.
No, but again, like yeah, so this is like you want to play a puzzle game. So in terms of its genre, like how fun is it?
It's very good.
Yeah, very good. Full marks.
Sure.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. Really? Just. Yeah. No.
I think it's-
There's no
I
story.
think it's
There's no
really
story.
cool that Pauline is the character and not Peach. That's really neat. I think when they made the other sequels, they didn't have a Pauline or a Peach in it because it was like Mario versus Donkey Kong, right? And the fact
Yeah.
they were like, no, we're gonna pull Pauline back out, and it's gonna be a Pauline game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a super minor thing, but it is cool they did it that way.
Yep.
You just-
Like it's also old Donkey Kong design with the DK tie and like Donkey Kong Jr.'s there.
Mhm.
And like
So is
they
Donkey
moved
Kong
back, right?
Jr. like the modern Donkey Kong, and OG Donkey Kong is just like Cranky Kong?
It's
I
Cranky,
think,
yeah.
I
believe
think
so.
that is correct. I think
Yeah.
the Donkey Kong you're fighting in this game is Cranky Kong.
That's fucking crazy.
It is crazy.
The Mario lore is pretty.
The Mario lore is pretty damn deep.
And in Donkey Kong
and-
64, he's dead. Right?
Oh yeah, he just comes back as a ghost. Yeah, he
Cranky
dies.
didn't die.
Cranky
He
dies.
I thought that was the old one, like the granny.
Oh,
No,
maybe it's
no.
the grandma, not the grandpa. Maybe.
Yeah, it was Grammy. It was grandma.
He's spun those turntables too
It
hard,
was,
man.
it
He's
was
spun-
Wrinkly Kong.
it was
Wrinkly
Wrinkly Kong.
Cranky Kong is still alive. Cranky Kong
Was
is a
it Kung
widower.
Fu?
Lanky Kong hanged himself though, so.
Lanky Kong is still fine. Lanky Kong
Yeah.
is Lanky Kong in
And-
Is
Mario Kart.
No.
Funky
Donkey
Kong.
Kong, Donkey Kong 94, I assume was good in 94, right?
It was very
Yeah,
good.
for its
94.
time.
It's very good.
I mean, it's better than Judge Dredd.
Sure.
The game.
All right. I assume no one's gonna fight a 3 for its time, because
Yeah, no,
that's
Fortnite
where I
is
would
fantastic.
try to pay its dividends
They
back.
should make a game where Pauline kidnaps Mario, claiming she's pregnant with his baby, and Peach goes to rescue him. Isn't that Super Princess Peach?
Isn't that Mario Odyssey?
It can be. It
Looks
is now.
like it
Donkey
does not
Kong
qualify.
94 is the 75.
It doesn't make the banger score because it doesn't have enough cultural.
It's just,
I
yeah.
guess.
That's pretty much, yeah. It's like a game you would probably recommend to people, but yeah, as far as like all-time
Yeah,
grades,
like,
it's
can we look at the score? I just want to see where it fell off.
75. It's from that
No,
first
but, like,
category.
It's
Yeah.
just from the first category. Yeah, it's
Yep.
Because
just
like,
because it's just kind of like meh.
and then like got shaved off a little bit on presentation.
Yeah, but not
okay.
too much. Like 2 points to visuals. Oh no, like
Oh, it's a 20.
what
It's a
nightmare.
19 out of 25, so it lost 6 points there, and then 14 from. Does that math add up?
That's it.
I swear to God, yeah, it should.
Well, okay, so
Because yeah,
Yeah.
this is all just adding stuff.
Oh, right,
shit for
and
me.
the controls losing 5 points. If you guys had been kinder to the control scheme, would have just
Might have,
slept in.
but yeah.
I mean,
think
that's why
fair.
we're hiding the scores, just so like we don't try to make the list or not. It's just we want the honest input there. So now we have a Sonic Adventure, Donkey Kong 94, Xenoblade Chronicles, and the Nokia N-Gage entirely.
The Nokia
Making-
N-Gage. We didn't put the Nokia N-Gage between any of these things.
I mean, to be fair, the Nokia Engage would max out on cultural relevancy. So
It
maybe-
would.
I tried to get one. I really wish I was able to get one back in the day, just so I could say I owned the Tomb Raider Underworld version of the Nokia N-Gage.
I own a sealed compact disc, a sealed disc, which is a soundtrack remix of the game System Rush for the Nokia N-Gage. Don't ask me where I got that, but I own
Damn.
that.
Nice.
System Rush is a Nokia N-Gage exclusive. It was a launch. I mean, most N-Gage games are launch games because of reasons, but
Because of reasons. They're
I
just...
mean, I'm talking about the fucking N-Gage. Did you know if you change cartridges in an N-Gage, you had to like unscrew something in the back? Like you had to like take some back plate off and like click in another thing. Like the updated one they
What?
made, the QD or whatever, that one doesn't have that. But it's not like a cartridge slot. It's like you have to take some piece out. It's like putting in a SIM card practically.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
Cool.
the N-Gage is problematic.
The Engage
Okay.
had some tweets from 2012 that we don't talk about anymore.
Alrighty.
All right, I got one that I'm
All right.
curious how that stacks.
Mhm.
Alrighty.
The original BioShock.
Oh,
okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right, long play man, take it away.
Remastered. That's fine. I mean, those remasters all look the same anyway.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? Look at that.
Well, that's a Xbox 360 lens flare already. All right.
Yep.
Okie doke. I loved this game. It came out when I was 15, and it had a story. And at 15, I didn't realize video games did that. I'm so. Did anyone else play it all the way?
Yes,
I
did.
did not finish.
I did not
Several
finish this
times
game either.
actually.
Okay. I have not played this in 15 years, in part because I'm a little scared if I did, I would lose its shine. But
no, not really. I still find it pretty damn enjoyable. Not a lot of things built like this. It definitely have like that kind of old school, like no regenerating health, a little bit of resource.
Oh, it did have the like instant respawn system.
It
kind of compensate for that.
And like how many games have done the like story that you learn through found videotapes? And,
right. It kind of. It actually the game that it is the spiritual successor to, System Shock 2. I think it's the beginning of that. But this is the one that basically popularized it.
Yeah. This is the one.
Its effect on gaming culture is certainly high in that regard.
Yeah.
Oh, this game's effect on gaming culture is extremely high.
I would even say max points.
It got 2 sequels. It was in terms when I remember being in a meeting at work, and we were looking at a competitor's mobile game, and it had this like Art Deco look to it, like this kind of style. And someone in that meeting room, I mean, again, we're working. This is a mobile game company, but someone's like, "Oh, it's like BioShock." Like for some people, this game is their touchstone for this art style.
Okay.
Like, didn't Fallout do it? I forget if Fallout
Fallout
was the first one to do it, or was it kind of just like memeing on it as well?
Well, Fallout is not Art Deco. Fallout is
different.
Like 1950s, like where this is more 1920s, like flatter aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
So it's old Americana in that way is the same, but like it's like decades different.
There's also an argument, I think, in games like narrative in games, I guess I'd say, about like what ludonarrative dissonance, where like the actions you take as a player do not match the story of the thing. And every time someone brings up, why does Nathan Drake shoot all these people but he's the good guy? In a good game story like BioShock, the violence is justified by the narrative of the game. Like this game became like a shorthand for game story should do this thing where the story and gameplay tie together specifically. And I think it still kind of is the number one. The same way that like Dead Space is the game where if you think you understand a lot about game UI and you want to talk about what do they call it, homogenic
homogenous
like in-world homogenized game UIs that now we hold every game to the same standard to, I guess. Dead Space is the game that you use as the example. This is the ludonarrative dissonance game for, I think, a lot of people still.
I definitely don't think it's the only game that has done it.
Agree that.
And like, we're okay with spoiling the end to this 15-year-old game, right? Like we're okay with talking about how this thing wraps up.
Oh my gosh!
It's a big man.
He's a daddy. This game also popularized.
Hey, that exact scene. That's like one of the.
Where did he come from?
Yeah.
I just remember like the room like where everything was frozen. Like I know some shit's gonna come alive, but it's still got me. I fucking hate. I remember like, the mannequin room. It's just like fuck,
Fort
man.
Frolic.
You know what's gonna happen.
Is still like a standout level, and people don't really talk about game levels anymore. But it's like that's like a standout game level in so many ways.
Oh yeah.
Narratively and gameplay wise and what have you, but.
I think to talk about game story. Now this is finally the time to actually do that when we get there.
I'm gonna look up the Dead Space UI.
Like the Dead Space
thing.
UI. But
What is that thing? What do
as
they
far
call
as
it?
effect on culture, like, yeah, I think it's undeniable. This is like the one that kind of like we don't have to stop up for a cutscene at every point. We can actually just have you build the world while you're still playing. It's smoothed
Actually,
out so much.
I believe Half-Life is the one in that regard.
Yeah.
But
I haven't played Half-Life, so like that's
Oh,
what was this like a. Would you say people kind of consider this ripping off Half-Life, or do people just kind of like?
well, I think Half-Life really started the trend of not cutting, like not like hard cut, watch a cutscene, resume gameplay, where
Yeah.
the cutscenes happen while you're
As
still
you're
in
in
control.
game, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessarily ripping off so much as like
This is another method of that thing. It's just you find this shit on the ground. You can hear about the place that you're in while you're playing. You don't have to stop. You can keep looking around while you're. It sets a whole vibe. It's just so fucking good.
Does this game have
Also-
a lot of like walk and talk in it? Does this game
No.
have a lot of like?
No,
none outside where
Okay.
it's
Not
like
really.
you're walking, listening around for stuff.
Okay.
Not in the way where it's like you lose control and you're forced to walk.
Yeah, not like Anya, tell me about the mission briefing while we walk around this wall and load the next area. Like it doesn't do that.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think how much of this story is being told to you while not that that's necessarily a bad thing. Like a lot of games of this era have those kinds of like shortcuts in them because that's the way they can make them work. I don't want to hold it
Right.
against BioShock, but I'm just wondering if the game is structured that way.
This game, the way it like segued stuff off like that was you took like a train to get around here and there, but there
Right.
wasn't really like a lot of masking load times
Hmm.
in that same way.
Right. Yeah.
I can't recall anything. Yeah, that had to load. Like once I was in the level, I was kind of just free to go. Like
Yeah, it
everything
didn't
open,
even
everything
have
loaded.
a character slowly passing through a small nook in order to
Hmm.
unload the stuff behind you and load the stuff ahead of you.
Okay. Again,
Yeah,
I don't want to
it was
hold that
pretty-
against the game for doing that unless it's egregious. I'm just wondering, like, how do they tell you the story in this game?
It's all through like running
Audio
into
logs
guys.
Some
there
brief
are a
audio
few
logs
times,
instances
if I
where
remember,
you
that you get some of the plot from like actual cutscenes where you do lose control for a little bit. Like it's
Yeah.
that was only
I
that was
can
only
remember
in-
like
in first
2 or
person.
3 of them. Yeah, but it's all in first person. But I don't know. You don't have control over your character during.
Let me
those
see if I can
scenes.
find them because like
you're right.
there are
Well,
points
there's the
where you
famous
find
one,
people when you go
the
in.
would you kindly.
Yeah, but
Or
like,
as you're running
That's
towards you.
just the end when
Yeah.
you're going in.
I
But
think
there are points.
when Sander
You just-
Cohen shows up in Fort Frolic, you cannot shoot him when he's walking down the stairs. Oh yeah, the photography.
oh, I forgot all about the
Can it?
camera.
I would
I'm
say
trying
like this
to-
definitely is going to lose some points as far as system utilization because that hacking minigame is
Yeah.
dry.
Yeah, there it is. Moments like that, like you just kind of like you find someone,
You
they're
watch
talking
it.
to you
Yeah.
through a window. You can choose
Yeah,
to
that's-
watch it.
that's the Half-Life style.
Mid sentence. Look, just let me get it out there. Yeah, you're like kind of watching a person through a window, and you can either like choose or not choose to watch it. But I think you're trying to imply that Half-Life did that, or like that's like a Half-Life thing.
Yeah, no, sorry for cutting you off.
Half-Life does have a lot of that, yes. And I would almost argue that I think this game does that a little more. Like when I think of the way this happens in Half-Life, you walk up to an NPC and he talks to you, and then he talks to you, and then he's done talking to you, and then you walk away. It's not like it's happening while you're playing. You're kind of stopping and listening. It just so happens that you can also move the character around at the same time.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
it's yeah. This game, it feels a little more like as you're playing. Maybe that's
That's
maybe
exactly
just my memory.
that's exactly what you have just watched here. Like this is a cutscene.
Yeah.
Someone is talking to you, but like you can still go through the controls. Not like you're forced to look at this. They say their shit and then you move. Like you're able to keep,
Mhm.
in a sense, playing on as stuff happens.
Mhm.
The only time the controls like full on, you're gonna stop and look is like the end where he's doing the whole speech.
Also big. This game is also very big for environmental storytelling.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Very big. Like you mentioned Fallout. Fallout's another game that had a lot of that in this era of just that like the world is a character, right? Like Rapture is a
Right.
character in BioShock. Not just the notes that you read, but just like the way the rooms look, the way like the enemy design, like that tells you part of the story of this game. It's a very significant part of the story.
This game also has corpse in a bed doing a thing mid action.
What?
Yeah.
Like
What?
Fallout,
Fallout has like a lot of skill. Oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
I was gonna say, Fallout has a lot of moments of a skeleton sitting in a bathtub surrounded by a bunch of psycho syringes. Obviously, that person was doing drugs before the nukes dropped. That kind of storytelling. And I think Bioshock has similar things of person in bed doing a thing before dying. Like, he was reading a book. You can see, like, the book is laying down next to his corpse before he got shot.
Yes, environmental storytelling. The meme environmental storytelling is you find a corpse mid-action.
Mm-hmm.
And Bioshock literally has that.
Yeah.
This is what I was riffing on.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Yeah, very strong. Pretty much. Just for this
Very
one
strong.
category, we just kind of gone on and on and
Yeah,
on.
like,
But
it's
yeah,
huge. Yeah.
this is. I would probably
Good
max it.
points.
I would hazard to max it out unless anyone wants to argue against max.
I think I would say max points would be like, Tetris or Mario 64 or something. So I'd say this is like a 14 or a 13.
14, 13. All right. What do you got, Ryan?
I was wondering what, like, okay, if this game is not max, then what is max? And when you bring up Tetris, I'm like, yeah, okay, it's not Tetris, but
Which, yeah.
it's extremely it's very important to the way we talk about, like, especially in this era of like modern prestige styles, story heavy, kind of almost like this Hollywood inspired single player game. This game is very important. And so I get it that it's not Tetris, but 14, 13, 14.
Right.
I would say
Dealing on
14.
14. Wait, did you
Or
go on
better,
13?
or for
Did you-
worse, this game definitely has an influence on the last 15 years of games.
Did you land on
100%.
13 or 14, Jim?
I landed on 14.
Yeah, I'll go with 14. Sure.
14. I'm still hitting on that 15, just in regards to like maybe not the game itself, but fuck, did this just like it's too influential in just like game stories from like this point on for me to like kind of deny it that max. What about you, RJ?
I think I'm sitting on a 14 for it.
All right, so pretty much 14, 14, 15, 14.
All right.
Which is like, yeah, I'm going to round down since it comes out to be 14.25, so 14 has prevailed.
Cool.
Gameplay, let's go. Controls. This is
Ryan,
a first-person shooter. It did not feel
shooter.
jarring to go back and play. Pretty solid. You can customize how fast you want shit to move. You can mouse and keyboard it. We can switch between weapons with the tap of the bumper, which is really nice. Or the weapon wheel paused like combat, so you can just hop between what you needed. Rewarded some creativity for like setting up traps and luring in enemies. Like it had a little bit going for it, but nothing felt like, ew, this is 2007 and old. Like, this is a first-person shooter.
kind of circles back to its influence in that a bunch of games kind of picked up what this was putting down, controls-wise, even.
I feel like
I think Halo was the one that started like the here's how you do dual stick shooters.
Yes.
Like, this is
Sure,
how it's done. But this is pretty much a dual stick shooter.
I can't remember ever any problems, even with like the camera. Which I was trying to think of like mechanics that were not shooting, and nothing I can recall was like notably bad.
Is this game very menu heavy? Is there a lot of like, because this game doesn't have crafting, but it has like buying, like using scraps and bits to buy bullets from it's a circle of values. Like it has that, right?
I never had to buy them.
Well, that's fine that you didn't have to buy them.
You
It's
find like
mechanical.
upgrade kits, and then as you click on it, it asks you which weapon you want to upgrade.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah,
For your
beyond
ref-
that, I don't really remember much menu hopping at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's more of
Okay.
a system utilization question, but is this game
Yeah.
full of like, here's a bunch of little, like, I'm looking at this photography bit, and I'm like,
He's just trying to get those shots.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, that and the hacking are two things that I don't remember being
Being fond of and
utilized. Oh, and also the well, we can get to that in a second, but controls wise, I don't know. Like, I would say it's unremarkable, but I wouldn't. It's not bad by any measure.
It's the standard, pretty much. Like, I cannot, even if I were to say like do it again today, like probably wouldn't change anything. Like,
this game would still play like this.
This is it. This is exactly how this would play.
Sure.
I have to. Can't really dock you there. You're just where you.
If anyone has any objections to 25, I guess speak now.
Yeah.
No, I'm just trying to think about. It's been a very long time since I played this game. I'm trying to think about like how is the movement and aiming in this stiff in a way. And I don't think it was certainly not for its time.
Right.
I think for its time it could control like a dream. I'm wondering if I played it today, how I'd feel about it. That's what I'm coming back to with this game. Is like if I played this today, is this still? I think that's what you mentioned, Jim, about like, ooh, how does this rate? I'm kind of having the same feeling about this one.
Stat claims to have played it a week ago and
literally a week ago. It is a first-person shooter.
Yeah.
To be fair, it was also BioShock 2. But like, it's.
Well, that's BioShock 2. That's a different game.
And in fact, it's not one like way more like actiony too. Like you mentioned a weapon wheel, and I don't remember this game having a weapon wheel.
No, like you hold the bumper, and then it'll just pop up. Like if you move up, you get the pistol or the wrench or the shotgun or the thing. That was a thing. And
this game isn't like, because Infinite, you had to pick one of two weapons. This game you can carry them all, right?
Yeah, this game is just all of them.
Sure. Well, that's a good utilization of systems, but for like hands-on controls, I don't remember there being anything wrong with them.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
I know, full marks.
Yep. Unless like if there's something else, we have to start averaging. But yeah, I would just say straight 25. Like I would not change a thing. Literally do this.
Well, system utilization, hacking sucks. Photography sucks.
You do a lot of this very mediocre puzzle.
I do remember this puzzle a lot.
I get that you wanted hacking to be a thing where it's like you just walk up, hit a button, and then you win. Like you want to either. I just wish the reward was worth. I wish the reward was worth the squeeze. Like if you're gonna have like this harder mini game, I want like not just a turret that had an easier puzzle to solve.
Right.
I just wish they were more consistent. Like all the turrets would be easier, and then all the like if you had a bunch of miniguns in a room, those would all be like harder. But the reward is like you're guarded in this room. I just wish they thought it out in that way versus like, oh, the further along in the game you go, the harder it gets, regardless of what you're doing.
It is
something like a drop ball.
A really half-baked system that honestly I think because System Shock 2 also had like a hacking mini game that was also okay, but I think that they put it in there because it was in System Shock 2 and not because they had some inspired idea about hacking stuff.
Stat, you mentioned like, oh, I wish if they were gonna do this, I wish the rewards were like this and the scaling of the difficulty was like that. I think for me the answer is I just wish it wasn't in the game. I think the game would just be better if you just went to the turret and turned it off instead of this, or if the turret was a different thing you had to deal with, and you dealt with it a different way, if you just shot at it, if you just something else. But I do remember this being one of the things I was like, okay, guys, come on with this crap.
Yeah, they wanted you to just take control of it, which then the question is like, is it too much? Is it overkill too much to allow someone to pretty much walk up to every turret and just take control of it themselves with no effort whatsoever? Like, does that break the game? Or is that just like, is that harmless?
Of poor system utilization, this thing here with the little sisters is the ultimate like shitty implementation of an idea, because your options are save the baby or kill the baby. If you kill the baby, in theory you get more science juice or whatever it was that gave you more powers, but they cop out by making it so that if you save the babies eventually give you super juice, but later on. And so there's no reason to ever kill the baby except like maliciousness, which
no consequence like in game for that is what you're saying. It's pretty much only like a moral thing, but then there's no like in-game incentive to really like, I don't lose out either way, so I might as well just take the good ending.
It feels like they probably cowardly copped out because they back in 2007 you couldn't make a game where they rewarded you for killing children.
But then you don't get rewarded. You get rewarded in game, but not like story wise. But yeah.
Right, but like that's what I meant. It's like there had been news stories, been like, the new game BioShock lets you kill children for extra rewards, and that would have probably not.
I mean, GTA didn't really care what
well
slander that came against
you
them.
remember the classic you remember the classic Mass Effect Fox News bit with the SE Xbox?
Oh,
actually.
yeah.
It's Xbox.
What?
Mine Red Ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
They had side boob in the first Mass Effect, and Fox News ran a story about how it was corrupting the youth, and Jeff Keighley, I think, went on Fox News to defend it.
I felt fairly corrupted.
Well, there you go.
There was side boob.
I guess if I could.
Sounds like they paid for that advertisement.
Was not even tasteful side boob. The thing I'd say about like the harvesting the little girl versus thing, when they showed that for the first time and they were like this, that was a very like game preview developer interview, like really impressive. Like, oh, we're gonna have these choices in this story, and the choices you're gonna make are gonna matter. And this was a time when like that was a very big, like a lot of games were doing this. Mass Effect being one of them, Fallout being one of them. Like a lot of these kind of like Western developed half RPG, half action game where the choices you make matter and you're gonna have moral consequences, and like this is gonna be something that's gonna affect how the story plays out. And then they kind of cop out a little bit, but not all the way. Like you get some different ending cutscene. Like that was a very I feel like this without that little girl, what was the little sister, Big Daddy, how you choose to interact with them relationship thing was like a very big deal for this game. And so I get what you're saying about it as being a cop-out, but I feel like it's one of those things for the time. It was pretty nuts that they were doing this.
We're not talking about for the time here. We are talking about now.
Sure. I just wanted to like give it some. I don't. If you were to look up a review for this game now, I don't think they would call it a cop-out. I don't think they would be like, oh, they should have done this. They'd probably be glowing about how, well, maybe. I don't know. I haven't read a review for BioShock.
No, even at the time, I'm pretty sure people were just going like, what the fuck? There's just like two, and that's it. It's either you saved the kids or you didn't.
Save the kids or you didn't.
And then there's no reason to like switch up. Like you pretty much, you make your decision once, I'm going to save them all or kill them all. And then you just kind of follow through with it. Would be like a very common criticism of like this game. There's no reason to ever like change up in the middle.
Sure, and like it doesn't really affect the story all that much in the end. I would say my bigger problem with the Big Daddy Little Sister thing is just when we talk about like bullet sponge enemies in first-person shooter games, the Big Daddies are obnoxious. That like I can't think of a more like except for like the brutes in Halo 2, right? It's them and the Big Daddies of just like take all of the resources you have and just dump them into this enemy. Unless you want to try sneaking around it. And then, of course, you have the revive system, which kind of lets you sort of just hammer on this thing for as long as you need to. It ends up being the whole Big Daddy thing ends up being kind of a weird from a gameplay perspective. It's very important to the identity of this game and the look of this game, and I like love the design of the Big Daddies and all that stuff. But whenever I got to a point in this game, whenever I ran into them, I'd be like, oh, fuck, like okay, we gotta do this again. You know,
I think I stopped playing the game because towards the end, they do the big reveal, and I think I still had a few Big Daddies to go back and kill, and I just did not feel like doing that at all. And it's like I don't feel like doing that again. So then I stopped.
Didn't it come up as that? Man, I go back and fight them because I can wrench these things. It's fine.
I remember enjoying the fights, but I do understand. Like, I remember in Infinite, which I played way more recently. The like Abe Lincoln bots being a huge pain in the ass to fight.
Yeah.
Because they were bullet spongy, so I can see why. I'm also really tired of watching this guy hack everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, this definitely like it kills the pace of the game. Like what should be walking around exploring. Like, yeah, this.
And this guy can click. He does not have an Xbox 360 controller where he's menuing around it, like I did.
Right. I would say, honestly,
man,
like there is a whole lot of fat you could trim out of this game to make it better, and would probably actually give it some pretty big points off for the systems. I'd say like an 11.
You're going down to an, let's see.
That's a little harsh, 20? But
that's actually too much for me. I would probably only take it down to a 15. So we have 11 and 15. What are y'all going on?
I feel like it's worse than 75%. I feel like it's 70%. I feel like it's 12 or 13.
Yeah,
Okay,
I was about to say, I was gonna go with 13 myself.
Okay, RJ's going with 13. What about you?
I'll go with 13 as well.
So that lands us with 52 divided by 4.
It's exactly 13.
13? Yeah.
Too much of this game for being considered a banger is a pain in the ass to play.
This stuff in particular is why I said I'm not sure how much it would hang if I would to go back nowadays and be like, oh right, the hacking, oh right, the photographs, oh right, the bullet sponging and the babies and lots of stuff.
The photographs
where it's like,
was optional. It was like, do you want to make the damage to the enemies more?
Yeah,
then do this. So you can just ignore
I took
it.
the option.
I don't care.
A lot of this game.
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, but I don't care that it's optional. It's in the game. It's a mechanic in the game. And you can do it.
You can do it, but you don't have to do it. Which is different from you have to do it and it sucks.
So much of this game, I think, back in the day, my eyes glazed over some of its flaws because it's so cool and pretty and like has a lot of good going for it that I was like, oh yeah, no, whatever, I'll get over the flaws. And I wonder nowadays when, having seen this all before, if I were to go back, aside from nostalgia, how much I would be willing to allow those flaws to not cloud my judgment.
I'm trying to think of how much of the hacking was actually mandatory, because like a lot of it is like, do you want to take control? Like that security bot he has following him around was a hack. You don't need it.
Every camera and all that. Yeah, no, I think you can get around a lot of it, but it's in the game, and I think it's a not great mechanic.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway. Like it is a bad mechanic, but I'm glad it's not like you have to do this. You're gonna stop every 5 seconds and do this. And I'm like, no. Sure. Versus like, okay, this is just like a damper that would deter me away from like doing something I would otherwise do, but I just don't like to do it. But I can just keep playing the game.
Unless you're trying to, of course, kill a big daddy without spending all your ammo, and you're trying to get all the advantages you can, like hacking all the turrets.
Oh yeah. If you want all the advantages you can, then then that's like that's a cost.
You're hacking a bunch of fucking turrets.
How does this game convey information?
I would say pretty damn good.
I mean, there is a big arrow they had to put in there to tell you where to go.
Yeah, it is that.
So
try turning off the UI and then just reading the signs around, because they actually do put in. I think it's almost just like that arrow above the screen kind of took away from some of the effort they put in, because you can actually just like read signs and read the doors and be like, oh, I'm here.
I think I would agree, but I certainly followed the arrow a lot back in the day.
Yeah. But like it is there. It is not there. Like it wasn't just like we threw shit here. The arrow's going to be the main source. Like no, you like if you went UI-less, you can find your way around, which is like, man, that was just kind of slept on. But
I'm sure if you put this in, if you turn that arrow off and put this in front of 10 different people, 9 of them aren't going to know what to do. Like I'm sure it's there if you're the kind of person who was like willing to really sit there and figure it out, but that's going to slow the pace of this game down a lot.
It's a little too harsh because it's also linear. Like, pretty linear.
If Stat is telling the truth about the sign thing, it reminds me of Control, that game that came out a few years ago, where it doesn't have an arrow, but it has a bunch of signs. And is also like Metroidvania-y, so it's not super linear. And so if Bioshock is as good to get around as that, then I might disagree with you saying that, Ryan, but
Maybe.
I remember following an arrow a lot.
Yeah, I did too.
Arrows
Turns out-
aside, I think the game is pretty good at letting you know what's going on.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just a
quite at
waypoint, pretty
Yeah.
much. A lot of games utilize them.
I mean, it's not quite in this era of like, you know, the what's the image people make the joke about where it's like a first-person shooter with like all the different little hotkeys and commands and meters on the screen.
Yeah.
It's not quite there.
Fingerless
yet.
glove meter.
Fingerless glove meter. Yeah.
What?
It doesn't quite have a fingerless glove meter, but I am looking at a health bar, a mana bar. Both have some number to them. A number of currency that's ticking up. The ammo, all the weapons. The thing on the side that tells me what my current objective is. You know, there's a lot of information displayed on the screen at once, and I feel like this is definitely early in that era of like, yeah, these first-person shooter games, we're gonna put a lot of fucking UI on the screen all the time. But it needs it. It needs it to do what it's trying to do in order to allow you to like what it's doing right now, like search all this shit. You have to be able to see all this. So
Environmental storytelling,
man. They did it. Itchy scratchy.
Oh wait, don't you mean itchy tasty?
Itchy tasty. I'm sorry, that's what it is. Itchy
Itchy,
scratchy.
itchy scratchy. Itchy
Yeah,
scratchy.
that's Simpsons, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I'm referencing.
Look, we'll get to the Simpsons hit and run later.
Yeah.
I think we will actually. That's the point.
Okay.
So, out of 8, I don't know, 7.
Yes.
Dock 1 point for
7. Yeah. If you want to take off
Wait,
the
what are you docking the point for exactly?
Arrow and being the default.
The waypoint?
Sure, yeah. I would dock Skyrim for the same thing.
For a waypoint?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't docked things for using a waypoint.
It's your opinion.
I know. So I know I'm gonna stick with so 2 7s. I'm giving it 8 because I can't really think of a change here. What about you, RJ?
I don't remember getting lost in that game. I don't remember navigating anything, so I guess an 8.
All right, 2 7s, 2 8s, so we got 30. I mean, it's gonna be less than the full just by virtue of this. So yeah.
I mean, it's a 7-5 if you round down. It's 7.
Well,
round
I'm
to
just
the
trying to
nearest, it's
round.
8.
Yeah, I'm running to the closest. So
And
yeah.
Full marks.
Sound design. Ooh,
I can
very
hear
good.
those like beeping turrets in my head right now.
That is a 5.
That is
I
a
max
full
out
mark.
the sound.
Yeah.
Max that shit out.
Amazing.
Very good.
Audio.
I can hear the slime going through that hacking minigame right now.
The only thing I will say about the sound is that I think for the time they were showing this game as a very like atmospheric, quiet, like storytelling, like, you know, this is a really somber, dark tone thing, and then you start playing it and it's like alarms and radios and gunshots and just like fucking mad, like this game is so loud. Like this is like this game has so many sound effects playing at once. That it's sometimes the audio is a little hard to parse. I don't think it's like that big of a dock, but I think it's definitely one of those things where like the trailer versus the actual game are very different.
I understand.
Yeah.
But I still think I'd give it full points.
Yeah.
I'm
sure.
also going with
That's
full
fine.
points.
That's fine.
Sorry, are we doing like 5 5 5 4? Because either way, like
In that case, it's a 5.
it's still fun.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
And
I just wanted to
then
bring up
targeting. So this is one of those.
I'm a 5. Again, full marks.
I'm
Looks
on
like
a 4.
looks like 1920s underground or underwater America.
If I'm pretty much on 4, and you know why. So what are the rest of you on?
I would say a 5 is because of like the visuals in this game are fantastic. I love the art, like the look of it. Like it's like looking at even like the menu, the UI itself has that Art Deco design, and they really stick with it. And I just enjoy how it looks, even like when the guns get customized and how they would look in this, setting. Everything looks really good. So I would give it full marks.
So many games that quote unquote strive for realism, I think sacrifice style in that way because they're trying to be like, oh yes, like Call of Duty, for example. There's no interesting aesthetic or menus to Call of Duty. It's just like, it's like a blank screen that has text on it. Where this, like, everything just is drenched in style, even if it's like the textures don't hold up, like everything else does, in a way that like is still just so patently unique, even to where, as Ryan said, like people see Art Deco and think BioShock now more than they think of 1920s America.
Yeah, I think this game definitely has an influential look. The only thing I will dock at points, I don't even want to dock at a point, but it's just like a lot of games that have, like we brought up, like the arrow and the waypoint system. The thing about this game is that, like, I remember the UI and like the guns and the enemies and like, yeah, the Art Deco style, but because of the way that you navigate this world and the way it all looks very like uniform, like they're going for a certain look, I can't tell you what any individual room or area of this game looks like, because I'm following an arrow and I'm not thinking about what my surroundings look like. I'm just going from place to place to place. And that might be unique to me. There might be, like, I guess that's not completely true, because there are some sequences that are like kind of stick out as like big set piece moments. And I guess those things stick out. But in terms of like the liminal spaces between, it's it's this place that I'm just sort of walking through, following an arrow from the next place to the next place.
I totally see what you're saying. I think if you told me that this was BioShock 2, I'd buy it, because I couldn't tell you where this is in either game.
Absolutely. Like it's hard for me. Like I can't look at any like video of gameplay of BioShock and tell you where you are in that game, because it all kind of, because I don't remember being there, because I just remember following the arrow.
Let's bounce around, see if this hands
but
out.
I don't think that's worth knocking at a point. It definitely has a look, and it has a great, this game does look great, again, despite the textures.
Didn't we knock off a point for Dread for that reason?
We didn't put
Dread for the Game Boy.
Metroid Dread.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, we had kind of a similar conversation about that, about like, hey, all the like biomes or whatever, kind of similar looking.
I think we definitely took off points for that.
I think the everything else, the overarching style of BioShock, stands out more than Metroid Dread. I think compared to even other Metroid games, Metroid Dread would lose points.
Yeah, that's pretty weak. It looks nice, but I know definitely where you're coming from. So what are you landing on, Ram? Because we got 2 5s and a 4.
I'm giving a 5.
Which means, yeah, it's pretty. Alrighty then.
Yep, I think it's very, very strong.
Some of its parts, which we've all kind of definitely had this little rain cloud hanging over it, of it's probably weaker because of some of its parts. If we were to lose some of those parts, it would come out stronger.
Yeah.
Got the stink on it.
Yeah, Hewitt Lover makes a good point about RJ, I think, had the similar point where the final boss is like basically, honestly, everything after the Would You Kindly reveal is like a big wet fart.
Do they need a final boss?
It did not, but it still had one.
Yeah,
what was the final boss, actually? I don't remember.
The guy who guides you around in the first half of the game, spoilers for BioShock.
The Irish guy?
Yeah. Atlas, I think is his name.
Is it O'Malley?
I think. Shit. Anyway, he becomes a big muscle guy, and you get in a very boring fight with him.
Oh,
really? You win.
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty then.
Kind of hokey. Yeah.
So
There's
yeah,
a couple
definitely
real hokey moments in this game.
Yeah, one of those weird cases where it's probably dragged down because it's trying to have too many parts it doesn't really need. And if it just shaved them off, it'd be fine. So I'm landing on like probably a 4.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I I think there are games that can transcend, and that's where the sum of its parts would be a 7 in spite of its parts not necessarily adding up to a 7. But I don't think Bioshock is that game.
So
Yeah.
are we all 4, or is it even lower?
I'm at a 4.
Yeah, I'd go with 4. I guess.
Okay, the fun factor. So yeah, let's just go around the room. Jim, what's your fun on it?
5. I love the game. I have very strong memories of the game, not playing it as well as just seeing it. And I think that.
Do you intend to say 6? Or 5?
No, I think when I think of like comparing it to other video games, even other shooters, it's not full marks. I think like Doom 2016 would be full marks for fun in a shooter. And System Shock 2 would be full marks for like aesthetics in a shooter. And Bioshock is a really incredible mix. But I don't think I'm not sure I'd give it the absolute max.
All right, RJ, what about fun?
Considering I did not finish the game, I probably go. I'm in between like a 4 and a 5.
What do you land on?
Right now I'm thinking 4.
Okay, Ryan?
I'm at a 4. I'm not saying the game's not fun. It is fun, but even for its time as a shooter, it's a little stiff feeling. The biotic, what are they called? Biotics?
Plasmids.
Plasmids. They're fun to use. They're fun powers, but a lot of them are just like, hey, you press the trigger and you blast them.
Yes, that's a
lot of them are like that. And so it's just I know you mentioned like, oh, you could use a mouse and keyboard. You can, and but if you don't, and you're playing this on Xbox 360, it just feels a little stiff.
I think the fact that just now is the first time any of us have brought up plasmids is telling.
Yeah.
For their impact on the game.
Yeah, because it's like a cool mechanic, but it's you equip the fire one, you blast them with fire. You get the ice one, you blast them with ice. You get the lightning one, you blast them with lightning. It's like it's cool, like it's neat, but it's not like it's a shooter that feels like a game where the shooting does not feel like the main reason you're there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely not.
It is. This game would have a lot of games like this in the era of like, we're trying to tell this story, we're trying to create this environment, we're trying to do this thing, and the shooting is fun, it's fine, you do it. But if it was just that, you wouldn't really. This game would not be very interesting.
I think talking about how it kind of the rest of this era kind of was like that. I think Bioshock Infinite is the standard bearer for this is a shooter because shooters are hot, not because we wanted to make a shooter.
Sure.
And I think this game is not there yet, but I can definitely see that they made Bioshock a shooter because shooters are how a video game could tell its story about how Ayn Rand is flawed.
Sure. Yeah, I buy that.
So we got 5, 4, 4. Yeah, I'm just saying on 4. It's just a nice little vibe. Not something I would seek out and get addicted to and keep playing, but this is it's a mood.
Yeah. No, I'm sure someone does speedrun this game, and that's great for them. I don't understand why.
Right.
All right, now we go. Story. Finally, a place where it's appropriate to go on.
Well, as far as telling stories in a game, like delving on political theory is certainly unique. And, I think that it's really cool. I think it tells a great story. I think the ludonarrative dissonance stuff, where the big reveal is that, like, you are going through the motions at behest of the game, and the agency you think you have is actually not the agency you have, I think is something that it's a story that can only be told in video games, which is really rare for games, especially nowadays when they all try and tell a Hollywood story.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I would give it full marks, like I'd say it's on a very, very short list of games that can only be games. Like if you
Already?
made Bioshock
Nice.
the Amazon series, it would lose something
A
because
lot.
well, yes, but I think
Henry
I think
Cavill.
if Bioshock the Amazon series was at its very best, it would still be worse than Bioshock the game narratively because you can tell stories in a Bioshock world, but you cannot tell the story of Bioshock 1 in anything except a video game.
Which is all right. RJ, anything different?
No, I think I think it would max out on the story. It does a good job of pulling you in and making you feel like you were a part of the world.
All right, short, sweet. Ryan.
Yeah, like I mentioned before, I kind of alluded to before, I don't like when we criticize game stories for not doing, like, for ludonarrative dissonance reasons of like, well, BioShock did this thing, other games should do this thing too. I don't think that's necessarily a fair comparison to do to all video games, but it is very impressive in this one, and it does deserve its flowers for it. So I would give it full marks as well. Like that's what this game is remembered for, right? That's its story, and it is very good. And I also agree with the whole, you know, story told in games that could only be told as a game, being really significant to this. As far as like how it deals with like political topics, I mean, it deals with political topics by like literally blowing them up. It does do
Sure.
some of that, and it's impressive for a video game, but it is a game about where you solve all your problems by shooting them with a gun. So it's not.
There's
It's
commentary
cool.
to be made about
It's
that.
commentary, yes.
Spec Ops: The Line, famously, is also
Yes.
a story about how you can solve all your problems by shooting things with a gun.
Absolutely. But yeah, I would give this full marks.
Yeah. I really got nothing different. I really respect a game when it can literally say the only way this story works is in this medium, which is the only reason I would ever give something full marks. Like, I don't really care about the other concepts spoken of, but if you make a game and it can pretty much be a movie, I think it's weaker for it because you're not utilizing the medium that you're in. But this is definitely like one of those that only works here, and that's very respectable.
I think this is one of those games where you can actually like debate its themes versus like just the quality of the writing. You know what I mean?
Which is
Where it's like you're not
when the
talking about like,
writing-
oh, this was poorly written, oh, the dialogue was bad. You're like, you can have an argument on the game's philosophy.
You could make a 3-hour video documentary.
but it has to be
about
strongly written to do so. Yes.
Sure.
No,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, like it needs it all. You need the good writing, something more to sink your teeth into, and then for a video game, it has to pretty much utilize the fact that it's a video game if you want to tell a story, because I think it's a really untapped market in terms of storytelling, because I think we've almost evolved. Like, this was like 2007 and we're just like, hey, this is a direction we can go. Like, you can change outcomes, you can look around, the world can do, like, the world can tell the plot, and we've just regressed so much in this regard. It's almost like sad to see just like how much worse storytelling has gotten.
Again, I think it's not fair to hold every video game to the standard of like this game's
For storytelling, yeah, like I certainly. Well, no. I mean, like, forget BioShock. I'm saying, like, you're in a video game, like, utilize it for your story. Like, don't just like, I want X, Y, and Z to happen exactly. You're going to sit down and watch it exactly. Basically, if I took away the game, nothing would change. Like, yeah, then why are you here?
I see what you mean. I think it's like, this game, if it came out today, it wouldn't feel antiquated narratively in a way we probably hoped games would be by now based on the game.
Sure.
This is like this was the start of something, like the start of like, here's how stories could be, here's how stories could go. This should be. I really wish this was antiquated almost in a sense, just to see like how much further we could go with how far the tech has gotten. But like the fact that it's not is like, holy shit, like why?
Kind of like that Middle Earth game that came out in 2014 with the Nemesis system, and everyone thought it was going to be like look how games are going to be in the future, where you have this like AI made like just the systems in place that really make it your own personal story, and like no games have touched anything like that pretty much since then.
I would say this has nothing to do with the score of this game, obviously. But if you're like, I want a story that feels like it needs to be a video game to work in a game, and I want something where it kind of feels like I'm sort of making some decisions about the story, and I kind of want this first-person shooter adventure, you should check out Deathloop. It does some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Not exactly the same. It's not the same thing, but the way the characters talk to you and the way it deals with time and the choices you make with your time, it's interesting. It's not the same thing, but it's also not. There's definitely some inspiration there, and it's cool. And also has like very good writing and all that stuff. Again, it has nothing to do with BioShock.
Right. It feels like not enough has grown in the wake of BioShock.
Sure.
And for its time, I think.
For its time, yeah.
Top marks, I think.
Yeah, top.
It blew my socks off. I bet there are people. In fact, I know back in the day
87.
there are people saying like this is a cheap facsimile of System Shock 2. But fuck those people. And full points.
I mean, 87. Like, yeah, it could take an L here, and it's fine.
It's a good game.
The BioShock, right next to Sonic Adventure, Donkey Kong, and Engage, just didn't make the cut. I'm sorry, guys. It's
it's fine.
not. We're really not picking them today. I just don't know what's happening.
Right, Under Dark Souls, Wii Sports, and Street Fighter 4.
You did this. You're the one that did Street Fighter 4.
It's such a strange. Like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, this was a weird this was a very long generation of games, and design changed, but like popular game design changed a bunch of ways, but it also kind of didn't in the same.
Yeah.
This
way.
is where it got standardized. Gen 7 is like
Yeah.
what set a lot of standards that we have rarely deviated from since.
It
Like,
set a
this
lot
is
of
what set
standards,
shooters, this is what set stories, this is what set fucking how cutscenes are gonna go. This is like where it all started from.
It did, but there are also moments where some weird shit happens along the way, and like those are interesting too. Like I think last episode we jokingly mentioned El Shaddai. Yeah. But just like there's some of that in this generation. Like this was also the motion controls generation.
Yeah.
Wii Sports. What do people feel about Kinect Joyride?
I think Gen 7 though is the beginning of the games are getting too expensive to experiment. And because a lot of the motion controls, like Sony lost their lunch on that, and Nintendo basically is like a major player because of it. And so yeah, it's like a lot of companies went under during that time. Like THQ went under because they experimented with the draw tablet. And so this was kind of the beginning. Like Capcom really shat their pants bad and almost went under during this time.
This Street Fighter was pretty good. I have a question about this list, about this thing. Why does Gen 8 go to 2016?
Where?
And not
Because
2020?
it's only 4 years old.
Gen 8?
Yeah,
Oh wait, hold on. Let me split this.
That
There you go.
What?
It gets moneyed. Mainly because of this.
The 2016 is when actually the Switch came out in 2017.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Okay.
No, you're right. He's right.
Got
It's like 5 years is a little
get it.
more. Anyway,
That's
yeah,
fair.
it's like the Nintendo quotient.
I was like, well, no, the PS5 did not come out in 2016. That's not true.
All right.
Right? What years then?
Okay, so we had that was 2, right? So we had Donkey Kong, we had
BioShock.
BioShock. So he got a pitch run.
Yes, I have been replaying a game over the last week, and I want to bring up because we talked about visuals and we talked about sound and rating them for older games. I've been playing over the last week a lot of Mega Man 2. I want to talk about Mega Man 2.
Okay. Some Mega Man 2.
Step away for a minute. I haven't played 2, so
I have not either. Who has played? Okay, who here has played 2?
Me.
I have, obviously.
All right, this is Holy shit, the box art for this thing. I forgot how
For this
just
thing, it's rough.
bizarre how NES box art looks.
This is one of the few games I own a Famicom version of, and I will say the Famicom cartridge, the art, he looks like a little anime robot that looks like what you would expect him to look like.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go with that American version. Yeah, get that.
Well, there's the American version, there's also the European version, which is uniquely weird.
Have I ever seen that one?
Oh, it's a treat. He's like a tall, skinny man with like a little point on his head. And he's holding a gun. Oh, just like this one. He's holding a gun.
Ah, yeah. Okay.
He's James Bond holding it to like the side. Like it's really something. It's very special. So where do I begin with this thing? I think that this game,
culturally, I guess.
Culturally is I think when we talk about like quintessential like 80s kids nostalgia NES games, this ranks up there with Super Mario Brothers and Legend of Zelda and Metroid and all of those 100%. When I think culturally, I think about the impact of this game. I think about, because remember, I'm not born when this game comes out, right? I'm not alive yet. I come to this game later because of an era of like early to mid-aughts, like 80s kid nostalgia, and a bunch of like very early YouTube videos, like the screwattack.com era, like tributes to this game, a bunch of like nerd metalcore bands that do nothing but covers of this music.
He's right. Yeah, there is
there's
weird
so
scene
much
of music with this.
There's a very big scene of music for this game and for this series, and it's because of this game.
Yep.
Like people have learned to play the guitar to play the music in Mega Man 2. That's definitely true. Like I don't know that for a fact, but that has to be true. Because there's so much of it. Like it's not just a band. It's not just the Proto Men, who I have seen in concert twice. It's like
holy shit,
a whole like Bit Brigade and like all these bands that existed in like 2002 2005 ish era. You know, when I went back to revisit the NES library, this was very high on the list of like top 10 NES games you have to play. Of all of the Mega Man games, this is the one. Like this is the game. Mega Man 1 is fine, and Mega Man 3 is cool too, and after that they get a little bit weird, but this is the perfect Mega Man game. And replaying it this week, I kind of am like, yeah, like this is definitely the one where they it all kind of lines up the best. I would say from a gameplay perspective, it is the
culturally
one,
though.
Culturally,
yeah. Before we carry on,
for me, culturally, this has to maybe not BioShock level, but it is right under it. It is very like again, Mega Man is not Mario. He's not. I get that, but like this is the most culturally relevant Mega Man game, I think. I mean, maybe X is up there, but this I feel like this is the game that gives them the excuse to make 6 more of them or something like that, right? Because this game is such a big deal.
They went on to make games of a similar style with Mega Man was it 9 and 10? Yeah. Went back to the old look.
Yeah, like one thing I wanted to mention, when they went and remade, like back in that kind of, when did Mega Man 9 come out? Like 2006 or something? When all, when all this nostalgia for Mega Man existed and all these, like weird metal bands for Mega Man 2 music were being made, they went back and made Mega Man 9 and eventually 10, which had the style of, it looked like this. Mega Man 3 has a slide move and I think it also has the charge shot in it. Which Mega Man 2 does not. When they went back and remade the old style Mega Man games, they did not include the slide move because they knew this is the game. Like this is the game people remember. Even though it's mechanically a more interesting thing, and it's well, I mean, you could argue that maybe it's worse for it, but I think it's fine. They were like the game that people have all the nostalgia for, all the memories for, like all the passion for is this one. So that's a very intentional thing they did. I can't believe this guy's going through the stage without Flashman's ability. This guy's a god. I was stuck on this week for a while before I had Flashman's ability. That's the other thing is like this is a game that people not only discuss that people discuss like how they go like their preferred route through this game. Because you can do the robot masters in any order you want. People have their like, oh well, I always go for Metal Man first because Metal Man Blade is OP.
Yes.
And so that's my first one, and then you can kind of pick the other ones out from there. Like go to Woodman because you have Metal Man's, and then I hadn't played this when I played this game this week. I had not played this game since I think I played it on like the Wii Virtual Console first or something, or I emulated it or something. I hadn't like thought about it that hard for a while. I remembered like at least half of the Robot Master weaknesses. Just like I looked at the title screen and was like, oh yeah, it's this, and this. Because like something about this game is like stuck colloquially in our brains about like how you go through it and what the levels look like and what all the soundtracks are and like how the bosses move, and like this game just feels so ingrained in a certain era of gaming culture that I think this game, again, maybe it's not BioShock, but it's sneaking right under the door under it. Like it's at least a 13 for me.
13. What about you, RJ?
I wanted to like go back to the music part of it because I don't know if you ever heard of I don't know how you pronounce this, Omoide wa Okuseman.
Oh yes, I rewatched that video this week because I hadn't seen it since I was in high school.
Yes.
And yeah.
So that is like a Japanese internet meme, that song. With that old original video about Ultraman. But then Jam Project, who's probably my favorite Japanese band, they do a bunch of anime music usually for like Super Robot Wars. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that.
Yeah.
But they did a cover for that song.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, and that was in, I want to say 2009 or 7 or something. But it like, they came back and make that song blow up again.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
When was this remake done? When was this cover done?
I'm looking at this video. Okay, there's a video here. It's from 2010 when they uploaded it. So,
because I mean, the original Nico Nico video, like whatever that band is that did that original thing. Because they also did the Airman stage song too. That's what I listened to. That's like I looked at that video. Like that's old now. Like that's probably as old as Mega Man 2 was when they made the video. Maybe not quite, but you know, even the tributes to this game have aged. That's where we're at. Like without this game, you don't have what's Smooth McGroove, the guy who does the acapella things.
Oh
I feel like without this game, you don't have that guy, right? Like because this is the soundtrack people care. Maybe that's a little harsh, but clearly when he did the Metal Man stage or he did Dr. Wily 1 or Wily 1 and 2, you know, those were probably videos that did very well because the soundtrack for this game is so memorable. And it is also very good. Like going back to it, I'm like, yeah, this pretty much every single one of these except for maybe Flashman kind of slaps still. Like it still holds up.
Bubbleman stage is probably my personal favorite.
Yeah,
let's get a number here. We're dwelling. Okay. So you got 13 and what?
Yeah, I would say 13 just out of respect for the last numbers, the last couple numbers.
Yeah, I feel like it doesn't. Yeah, it's not quite BioShock, but it's right under.
All right, controls.
Very simple. Not much to them. The jumping feels really good. Like the amount of air control you get over Mega Man when he jumps is really solid. That holds up.
I think that's pretty vital for a platformer.
Let's ask this: within its own franchise of Mega Man, has it been one-upped? Like if they could go back and be like, yeah, we've learned from our older games and we would make it like this now. As future Mega Man games, you know, like take away the future abilities too. Just Mega Man running and jumping. So it's all he's doing now.
Have they changed anything? So.
Have they tweaked this?
Slide. They added the slide.
Like take away the other, just running and jumping. All he's doing now. Has this basic movement been tweaked at all to feel even remotely better within its own franchise?
It's really different. I mean, because like so what is it, like 6 is the last one on the NES, and then there's 7 on the Super, which I think 7 actually feels worse than these games personally.
Really? Really?
Yeah, like the
He's
Super
too
Nintendo.
fat. The
Or
sprite is
it's
too big.
maybe not 7 or it's 8. The ones they kind of made later that aren't NES games feel a little bit funky to me. I don't know. Like I think about like Mega Man 8 Springman stage, and I'm just like, oh god.
Would you be making this comparison to Mega Man X and that series as well, which is like, you know,
Mega Man X's movement is very good. It's very hard to feel like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, this game shits all over Mega Man X. It doesn't.
Yeah. Mega Man X is, I think, is what makes the movement, like no, Mega Man X games movement has transcended regular Mega Man's movement, but that's why they're different games.
Yeah.
So in that sense, he would dog a point then.
So what I was going to say was that with Mega Man 11, whatever the newest one that had to like one up Inafune's pizza game.
Oh, Mighty
Mighty
Number
Number
9.
Yeah, Mighty Number 9.
Mighty Number 9 came out before the last Mega Man game, so.
Yeah. So with Mega Man 11, that game feels like playing, despite it being 3D graphics, it feels like I'm playing Mega Man 2 with those controls. So in that regard, I don't think they would not change anything, because they didn't change anything with that game. Like, sure, they added a slide, but like,
which is like a good comparison. Yeah, like, so
Yeah.
if they didn't opt to, they were literally just like, no, this is perfect. This is it.
Yeah.
Don't touch it.
Yep.
So you giving it? What's your score?
I think I
then?
would give it max points.
Yeah, I think I give it pretty much max points.
All right. So he looks like he's got some powers he can alter between, but besides that, it's another platformer. So how relevant are these new abilities? Is it just something that makes the levels easier, or like, is it a necessity?
Well, it's like the impetus of the game is you kill a boss to get its power so that you can beat other stages.
And then once you get to the end, you can beat any of these Robot Master stages with just the normal shot, and it's very possible. But some of the other builds. So every Robot Master has a weakness to one of the other ones, and so knowing that's very useful, obviously, because they'll just take a ton of damage. The thing about the end, after you beat them all, you have this kind of section of like the Dr. Wily stages. On those, there are sections of the stages where you have to have them. You like, there's a dragon that you have to shoot that you need Quickman's boomerang for. There's the tank that you need the Heatman's thing for. There's the walls that you can't get through without Crashman's Crash Bomber. There's sections where you need the like 1, 2, and 3 movement option things to get around. And so in the early, I think they do a really good job of like the early levels that kind of let you like have these things early and like experiment with them and like figure out what they do. And then once you get through them, you get to the stages where like, okay, now you have to use these. Like, now you can't just rely on the standard shot. You need to use these things, or else you actually can't advance through them. I think that's done pretty well.
So the accurate description would be to say, because it is a non-linear game, it's possible to do it with just a basic shot. However, having the powers makes it easier. And once you're on the last section where they know you have all the powers, that means they get to make it mandatory.
Yeah.
So they do.
Yes.
Yeah,
In which
that's
case,
exactly
like,
what this game is.
that's very nice. Yeah, I'm very fond of that balance as well.
Yeah.
Man, I probably that's a 20 then. That's Kino.
I would say this. I mean, this is a known thing with Mega Man. Mega Man 2 is probably one of the easier Mega Man games because Metal Blade is so good. Mega Man can't shoot in diagonals normally, unless he has Metal Blade, in which he can, and it makes a lot of these sections a lot easier to play. You don't need to cheese it out with the Metal Blade. I do, but it is one of those things where, like, you know, the American release of this game has 2 difficulty modes, one that is easier than the original, and then you have the Metal Blade thing on top, and then you have the, like, being able to exploit the weaknesses on top of that. Like, you can make this game harder on yourself if you don't have the information, but that information is readily available at this point because this game's almost 35, 40 years old. So it's
in
hard
game,
to
are you
say.
told like what's weak to what, or is
No.
it just
No.
experimentation?
You have to experiment.
Yep.
It's just that like I don't remember a time in my life when I didn't know some of these. Like it's hard to imagine what that would be. So it's hard for me to speak to.
I also want to point out in the Japanese Mega Man release, I do believe Airman has like an extended part of a stage that was not in the American release. Like
Is that true?
yeah, I think they actually like made it a bit easier, I believe.
Okay. I'll have to look that up. The collection that I bought for the Switch has like it has the first 6 games, and it also has like, do you want to play the American version or the Japanese version? Like, what box art do you want to see? Like, what do you want to like fix like slowdown in the NES emulator to like make it smoother artificially? Like all those crazy options that they did for it, which is really cool. I should check
Nice.
that out. Yeah, it's a really good collection.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's system utilization is I'd say pretty high. Everything feels very intentionally designed, if that makes sense. Like it feels like they very much like wanted the game to have the amount of difficulty it has, the stages to feel the way they do.
Enemies take that into account too. Their enemies are just like, yeah, this is cake with this weapon, harder with this one, or is it like
Yeah.
every weapon is just a universal buff in a different way? Or like how's that working out?
I would say that some of the weapons you use a lot more than others, to be fair. Like Bubble Man's bubble gun is not as useful as like Hitman's weapon. And like Flash Man's thing is good the one time you really need it in Quick Man stage. And then not really useful again. But it's really useful in that one section. Like it's great. When you defeat Airman, you get the number 2 item weapon, which is the rocket, that kind of the little missile that you kind of float across, and the big section of Heatman stage where you have to do this like jumping puzzle. You can just skip all of it because you have the thing, and it's very much like clear that if you have this, it makes this part easier, and like you can strategize around. Like you can be stuck on a stage, go to a different stage, get something, and it makes that other previous stage easier, which for its time as a platformer, it's kind of not something that every game is doing at this point. It's not something that every game does now.
Yeah, like that's
not
not even done now.
Yeah. So I'd say that's very strong in this game.
So I guess would the chinks in the armor just sort of be like, yeah, like this is all possible. It's just everything doesn't have like the same payoff in a way. Like there's some one-off guns that you're just not ever going to use unless like it's this one moment you need it, and then these other guns that are just like, yeah, I'm going to use this all the goddamn time for like multiple things.
It's definitely a little bit. It's not like you're using them all the same percentage of time. It's some of them are more useful than others.
But is it like egregious? Is it just like, yeah, this is like a nonsense, I will never use this type of weapon kind of floating around there?
Some of them are kind of pointless. Like it's like here's the boss fight where you use it, versus like Metal Blade in particular is just like, I mean, I probably use Metal Blade more than the regular shot at this point because it's just so good. But you don't have to. You don't have to. So it is, because I'm trying to think like what are the items that I use the least, and it's like Heatman's thing and like Airman's thing is more useful if I was smarter. I feel like some of these are like, well, if you're good and you like have made this useful for yourself, you actually can use this in a way. Like later on in the game, you're like, oh, there's these like false floors, and if you use Bubble Man's shot, you can see the false floors. It's just not necessarily that you're using all these weapons to like kill an enemy. Like you're not going through a single stage using one weapon and killing all the enemies with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's
state of the art high resolution. I love it.
It's very high resolution.
State of the art high resolution.
Look at Dr. Wily hiding behind this man in the spandex with his drill arm.
That's Dr. Light, isn't it?
Is it?
It
Oh,
looks
maybe
like Dr. Light. He's got the beard. Not
I mean,
the,
does it? I mean, it doesn't look like either of them. Let's be real. Like what stage is this?
I don't know. So what number?
I mean, it's Hitman stage.
I would say this is at least a like an 18 or a 19. Like there's maybe there's a couple of like, yeah, this gun's not that useful, but other than that, it's really solid.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I'm in agreement.
You agree? 18 or 19?
18.
RJ?
18.
Any?
18.
Okay. Conveying information. So pretty much there's no way to know besides experimentation for boss weaknesses.
Yeah. So that's a thing. I mean, it's an NES game. Games were like that back then. It certainly probably helped to have the Nintendo Power that explained, like, hey, yeah, like Metal Man and Woodman, you kind of get a good, start in this game. And then having Woodman for Airman stage is really useful. And then if you get the 2 rocket, that's going to get you past Heatman. Like knowing all that stuff is a huge advantage, and you can't know it without like a lot of experimentation.
Also, I wanted to point out in the menus, when you choose a new weapon, it's just the first letter of it, and it took me a while to be like, what is any of this?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
It's not great about that stuff. It's not. Yeah, I will agree. It's not great about that stuff.
Is fucking Mega Man Smash just based on Mega Man 2? Because I'm just seeing a lot of abilities I recognize. I'm like, did they just not take anything from anywhere else?
There's one thing I think like what's the up B move where he has like the flame sword that's way later.
It's 5, I think.
Or I think it's like his back air or something. It's like that thing. That's something he gets. But like yeah, the leaf shield thing. Like yes, there's a lot of Mega Man 2 in that version. A lot of iconic Mega Man stuff is from this one.
Yep.
It's just because it's the best, probably the best one. It's people's most favorite one. 3 is very good too.
All right. Information conveyance. Any
what's 8%?
Yep.
8%.
I'd say 7%.
I might even go 6.
All right, so 7 and 6. Let's, because yeah, either Jim and I can really weigh in too much on that one. So, yep, that'll go up to a 7 with that. All right, I think I've heard everyone just kind of mention that the soundtrack is the banger, and listening to it, yeah, I'm hearing like all the fucking metal guitar renditions of every song of this ever played, despite not having ever played Mega Man 2. But yeah, I'm gonna be the one throwing the average in this wrench here. It's just a 3. This is a serviceable NES game.
I'm surprised you even give it. I was expecting this to be you go, oh, it's an NES game, so it gets a 1. Obviously, I'm very high on the sound design of this game. I think every every soundtrack, every song as well as every sound effect is just iconic.
Yeah, it's stylized. It's stylized pretty well to the system, which is like maybe I didn't convey that very well like last time, like regarding sounds. But yeah, like, you can stylize a sound, like you can stylize like your visuals, and that degree can help you. Yeah,
I think they use the NES hardware very, very well.
Yes.
Very, very
Especially
well.
with this Wily music.
Like, this is a stage that we're looking at right now that I would say does not convey information, because he's going to get to this boss and he needs to know that you need to use Quick Man's thing, or else this thing is like very, very difficult to deal with. But I know that, and so when I did the fight, it's not that big of a problem. So I'll say, yeah,
very good looking NES sprite. Holy shit.
It's very good looking NES sprite.
Yeah, like it's really good for the NES actually.
Oh yeah. Capcom's made some video games, turns out.
I'm not buying that one, pal.
What do you mean? How dare you?
So sound, I'm giving it full points. You're giving it a 3.
Yeah. Okay. So he's got 3, a 5.
I'm gonna give it full points.
Any just weigh in with your earballs there, Jim?
No.
All right, so we got 13 on. All right, we got a 4. Knowing like, yeah, what they want Mega Man to look like and all that, I'm probably just Yeah, it's just like a fucking.
Remember,
two.
they were trying to make Mega Man look like Rockman, not like that cover there. The American cover is retroactive.
Yes.
He still doesn't look like Rockman.
It
But
might
he looks
help
more
to look
like
at
Rock.
the Japanese
Yeah.
box art to be like, hey,
I'm going based off the Japanese box art.
Okay.
Oh, sure.
he's an
Yeah.
anime character. He's a little anime
He is.
robot boy.
Yeah. That's just
I'm gonna be
the-
real. I have never really been crazy about how these games look. 4X, like the
Really?
8-bit Mega Man games.
That's
Like
fair.
they're not terrible, but I've never cared for the aesthetic. That's just a personal choice, though.
That's fair.
I mean,
I
that's
really
why
like
we
the
got a
way
mix of people.
I really like the way these games look a lot. I think when you talk about like iconic video game sprites, if you go to Etsy right now and look for like custom made perler bead art, how much of that is going to be like in the Mega Man like running pose?
Yes.
Because it's so. First of all, it's very skinnable, and two, it's just very like you just see a character in this pose in that shape. With that color scheme, you know exactly what the reference is. Like, it's not questioned at all. So it's definitely an iconic look.
Right. That's the 13 points for
But that's the
relevance to
13
game
relevance.
culture.
I get it. I like the way this game looks, but I think the stage themes are very cool. Woodman's in the forest. Airman. I think Airman stage actually looks really cool. Because of the sky. I like sky stages. But yeah, okay. What is this out of?
I think
5?
it's just that it's only out of its
5?
five. Maybe
4.
4. What about you,
There
RJ?
I would say a 4-2 just because of the sprite flicker really messes with the visuals sometimes.
Oh yeah. Unfortunately, that reboot version, the package, the collection I got does allows you to turn off the sprite flicker.
Wow.
Which is pretty cool.
It just has to.
It just turns that shit off.
Any weigh-in, Jim, for the number?
Yeah, I wouldn't give it high marks. I'd probably give it like a 2.
All right, so 2 2s and 2 4s. So
What about you? Hey, if I have to give an opinion, so do you.
I
Did
did
two.
2.
Oh, okay. Hey, 2
Yeah.
2s, right?
Yeah, 2
That's 4.
2s, and so it's a 3 now.
That's 3.
Yeah, which is just like, this looks like the baseline NES game. It's just a serviceable NES game. We sure did it.
Totally. There are better looking NES games.
Yep.
There are.
Some of its parts, though. What do we?
It's almost like full barks to me.
I would say 1 under it. Just because some of the endings, like the thing you're about to see right now, is
Forgot
yeah.
about this.
What the fuck is this?
This guy did really well. This guy could fuck you up real bad.
What the hell?
Because of that whole like you need to know things about how the stages work. This game can have, if you don't know that stuff, can have some real like bashing your head against a thing to figure out what you need to do, or like you die at a stage and you really need the weapon you were using to be able to fight that boss, and you're now out of energy for that weapon, and so now you're farming enemies to get your energy back. That's a thing in this game.
Oof.
It's very much an old school. I mean, this is old school action platformer design. Like, it just has shit like that in it, and that it's not an excuse for it. It's just saying that it is there. Now, I think for some of us, that stuff is a lot more excusable than it is for others. I think some people would play this and be like, I can't deal with this. This is a pain in the ass. Kind of like the BioShock hacking. For some people, it's a bigger deal than others. I, for one, kind of am okay with the style of game, and kind of just accept that this is what these games are like. Other people, I understand that it's not going to be like that. I would say trying to be fair and like for me, it's like, oh yeah, because I love Mega Man 2, so it's full points and everything. Hooray, Mega Man 2! But like trying to be a little more fair about it, I could call it like a 5, because there are just enough pain points in the design of this for it to be like, yeah, like right now in this year, I could definitely see someone being like, ugh, this is a chore to get through.
So did you do 6, RJ?
Um,
Or 5?
think he said full marks, didn't he?
I said full
Yeah,
marks.
oh, no, yeah,
before,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like thinking
No.
about it from a
Ryan talked you-
perspective.
he
It's
talked
just
you
like,
down.
he's got a good point.
Yeah. Again, I bring this game up because we had this discussion about last episode about comparing games within their time period and like whether that's fair or not, and sounded like the limitations of hardware, and I was like, okay, this is a good example of a game limited by hardware, but despite it being very good, but also still definitely limited by its hardware, and just the design constraints of the time. This guy is schmoovin'.
Yeah, this guy is a Chad. He's just like
Holy
not
shit.
giving a fuck.
Just the Donkey Kong 94 guy.
Yeah.
Oh my
God.
God.
Find World of Long Plays. Have him do this podcast. Holy shit.
I thought that was different people who would play
It probably
that.
is.
Yeah, definitely. He just probably gets like all their footage.
Yeah, like I'm
Gives him
looking
a
at this
cut.
Crash Man stage and going like, oh, right, this thing sucks.
Oh fuck! I'm looking at this because like the only Mega
Yeah.
Man I have experience with is like Mega Man and Bass. That shit was hard.
Oh,
That's
Mega
like
Man
I-
is much harder than this game is.
Yes.
Okay, because like that's my reference level. I'm thinking like, is this harder than Mega Man and Bass just because it's like an NES one? Holy shit, man! Like I
Mega Man
struggled.
Bass is way harder. Mega Man
I
Bass is nuts.
struggled in that shit.
Yeah. You'll struggle in this game too, but not like that. So yeah, I'm giving it a 5 for system utilization because like the weapon robot master mixing stuff is interesting and done well, and like it is cool.
Fun factor.
Fun factor. The game is it's a very fun game. It's a fun game to
Wait,
play.
wait. We didn't even get like the sum of its parts. So we have a
I
5
thought
and
we were
an
talking
RJ.
about-
What'd you get?
Right. I'm a bit nicer, so I'll give it a 6.
And then I think
I don't know.
the only two that could weigh in. So looks like you're landing on a 6. Okay, yeah, the fun factor.
Very fun game.
It's very fun. I had a lot of fun playing it this week. I was like really happy to play it this week. Coming back to it, yeah, man, this game fucking owns.
It also
So, and
is
then
able to make you really angry.
World of Platformers, where does it land?
The world of platformers.
Yep.
It ain't Mario Brothers 3.
it's getting a 5.
Yeah. Was it out of 6 or 7?
Out of
It's
6.
at a, yeah.
Yeah, 5 is probably correct.
No. Well, I mean, I guess there is a story. It's just like it's pretty much just there to, hey, pick the levels, go get them. Like that's.
It has that little intro. I think the ending where Dr. Wily turns into an alien, but then it turns out to just be like a projection, and like he's just at a control camera is like a fun gag. I think that's really cute. Other than that,
Yeah, I would say it's not the point of the game at all.
no. Good character
And
design.
then for its time, so it comes out. It's competing with it's Mario. Yeah, it's competing against pretty much Mario 3, other platformers. How does it stack?
I think this game stacks up super well. I think if we were talking about like Mega Man 4, I'd be like, yeah. But if we're talking about 2, I think this game stacks up really because Mario doesn't get a gun.
Yeah.
Hand's not a.
Whoa! Shadow the Hedgehog gets a gun.
Yeah, well, Shadow the Hedgehog. Okay, then Shadow the Hedgehog can be for its time 3. But I don't know. I think for its time, I think it's full marks for me. But again, I wasn't alive at. Okay, let's do this. Let's look at reviews for Mega Man 2.
Yeah, that's how looking
Yeah,
up.
honestly, yeah, do some research. Let's see how people felt on it.
Because I like it a lot. Nintendo Life gave it a very high score in 2007. That's the thing. We're gonna find a lot of reviews for this game that are like, retrospectively, this game is epic. Because
We're gonna
of
need
course-
some. If you were born back in the 1930s and you'd like to be a part of the podcast, please contact
1930s.
Ryan. And he
Don't-
can.
if you're-
Last adult when
If you were born in the 1930s, please don't contact me.
Ryan.
Ryan!
Number one, I'm sorry. Second of all, it's not my fault.
Mega Man 2. Now that was a game.
Why is the person British?
I was in my 50s.
My grandson came by and showed me a little robot. and a man turned into an alien right before your eyes.
I miss my grandson. He died of old age.
Oh no. Wait, whoa, now you're just in space. What the hell is going on here? The fuck?
Hey, Dr. Wily is an alien.
Yeah, Dr. Wily is an alien.
You're not paying attention?
He's totally an alien. Check this out. He's
Spoiled Mass Effect 2
definitely-
for me.
definitely.
Also, the only time Bubble.
Yeah, this is
weapon
one of
is
those
actually
like
useful.
now you have to use this weapon that you don't normally use. And it's
A bubble gun kills the alien.
the bubble gun is the only thing that
I
does
love
any
this.
damage to him.
So, what we say
Yes.
for its time?
Hold on, I want to see.
My understanding is that it was
Pretty sharp.
Holy
slow.
crap, there was a Tiger Electronics version of Mega Man 2?
Oh no,
I'm
wait,
sorry.
it's just Dr. Wily controlling a hologram. Oh no, that's crazy. I'm trying to look for old reviews of Mega Man 2. That's the thing.
like GameRankings.com. May it rest in peace.
That's.
Had those.
Let's see, Famitsu gave it a 28 out of 40. It's
Did
4
it?
stars. Yeah. I don't know how long ago that is, though.
That's probably the original.
Uh,
I'm
EGN in 1989, magazine number 2 gave it a 32 out of 40, which
Okay.
is 8 out of 10, 4 times.
So it was
Okay,
just like
yes.
lukewarm.
Famitsu gave a thing. IGN, that was later.
Yeah. So it seems like,
Or people
was
just like,
like-
yeah, sure, this is nice.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
hey, I
Yeah,
liked Mega Man.
I could see giving this a 2.
See?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, the score is right next to the Engage, but no, 89.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Okay. Pulling this game out, I didn't want to say it because I didn't want to like influence the scores, but I thought this was not going to make it.
Oh,
I think you abstaining from all your review. I think everyone else abstaining from not weighing in on it, instead saying like, well, only the people who've played it will talk about it. Probably helped.
I mean, I waited on stuff that's like, I have eyes and ears. I
You
can
have eyes and
hear
ears, yeah.
sounds and I can look at visual. But besides that, yeah, if I haven't touched it, I'm just kind of going on.
I thought you were gonna say that the sound is bad because it's old, and I was gonna say, you motherfucker, listen. And we
No,
were
you,
gonna have
you
that
can
discussion.
stylize it. You can
You're gonna
stylize it.
start shitting on stat based on your imagination, which is what I do.
Oh,
Whenever
no.
I think of stat, I'm just like, that fucking asshole.
I'll be right back.
Bitch. But no, it's just, yeah, average NES game. It's not like when I think of like bad old games not utilizing its shit, I think I'm like Atari Pac-Man, where it's just like, this is abysmal. You can do
a rough
better
one.
than that. You
That
can
looks
do
like
better
ET.
than
What are you
this.
talking about?
Or like, yeah,
Um,
like ET, or like, you're not even trying to like
Yeah.
work with what you're given.
Yeah,
I believe.
I was gonna say that like if you were gonna make the comparison, like, oh well, would a game be good now if it had the soundtrack? And I'm like, if you took the soundtrack of Mega Man 2 and put it into most
Yeah,
modern
that'd be
video
great.
game, it
It'd
would
be
be
slapping.
fantastic. If you put the soundtrack into Far Cry 6, Far Cry 6 would be a much more interesting game.
Oh my god.
And also gave me like the Metal Blade in that. Oh yeah, much better game.
Oh damn. Let's see. I think I did 118. Let's
What just
bet.
Find that mod.
We decided to move the Engage up to.
The end gate's actually a banger.
Because the N-Gage up into like Gen 6 actually is very strange.
Yeah, we even moved it ahead in years.
Yeah, it's very strange.
So, Stat, I believe you're the only one who has not
Yeah.
proposed anything. Do you have any bright ideas?
Let's see. I mean, like, now that we've just done so many, like, we've done Donkey Kong, we've done Mega Man 2, and we have done
Bioshock.
Bioshock. Yeah, I don't want to keep just leaning on the older gens. So let's shoot for a Gen 6er or a Gen 5er. Let's see. You know what? Here's what I'm also very curious. But
Mega Man Anniversary Collection. Okay. Let's talk about Mega Man 2.
Mega
We're
Man,
gonna
Mega
do
Man.
Goen's Great Adventure.
That's
Oh
a Gen
no.
5, I believe.
Yep.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Which one is this?
Has-
I don't remember.
Anyone played the second N64 Gomen game
Oh,
besides
this
that?
is the second one.
Because I have
Yeah,
not.
I
not
haven't even played
the
the first one.
I've never
Not the
played
shitty
that.
open world one, the one where they're like, okay, like, this didn't work out. We better go back to our platforming and just
Some people
leave
love
it at
that first one though. Don't get it twisted. Some people love that first
it's a
one.
vibe, but like yeah, it's definitely very weak.
Well, Stat, I think you're going to be talking at a mirror in this one.
Yeah, I have
Oh,
no.
no. Nobody, no one's got me on this.
Barely familiar with the first one.
Come on, man.
I remember you playing this in college and being like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, this is great," and I'd be like,
We
"No,
played it
it's not."
together.
Probably for like 10 minutes. I think that guy with the blue mask looks like a pervert. That's what
He
I think.
is.
Isn't that like the generic like thief get up
Yeah,
is
he's-
tying the thing under their nose?
He ties the thing under his nose. Yeah.
I didn't even know this game had a sequel.
Yeah, go on.
Exactly. It is low key.
Well,
All right, you're on your own.
given that,
Well,
given
culturally,
that RJ
that's
didn't
probably.
even know it existed.
We're gonna go with like -7 here.
Yeah, maybe
because,
actually a 0.
And I would agree. Gomen is just, besides some pachinko machines that has come in, like, and like the banging music, like this is like one of those like god tier soundtracks that is just, anytime someone thinks of this game, if for whatever reason, it's the soundtrack.
Yeah, who thinks of this game?
Is this a game has a bigger print on like Japan? Is this a game where like actually secretly in Japan this character is like super popular and has been for 50 years? He's like
Oh.
Doraemon or something.
If that was the case, there'd be like a PSP game that only
Like
came
a-
out there, like a
like a-
PSP like puzzle rhythm game.
Like a visual
There's
novel.
there's
Right.
a DS. He
There'd be
he
a-
got some sequels. He
There'd be
got
a
some
stage
DS
play.
games.
Yeah, an audio
Stage play.
drama.
Gomen stage play. Oh fuck.
So, Mr.
But yeah,
Stat.
it is very, very low culturally. Like the fact that it's even persisted into like casino pachinko machines. Like people even bother to remember him. People bother to remember Gomen to put like a skin in Smash for like Mii's, but like he's so fringe. Like besides that, like he's just occasionally remembered is the strongest I can say. Like for some reason we occasionally look back and remember that Mystic
If you
Ninja
showed me-
starring Gomen existed.
If you showed me a picture of Gomen, I'd be like, is that one of the snowboard kids?
Like this, like Gomen is like best N64 hidden gems you didn't know about.
Yeah.
Like article
Yes.
level.
Let's look at Racket Boy again. Hold on, let me check to make sure that's true.
But yeah,
well, how
this
does
is
Gomen
like a
2
one.
control?
Ooh, way better than the first one. It's sharp. There's 4 characters. Gomen has the double jump. Ye has a rocket launcher. Ibitsumara has panties, and then Sasuke has bombs and the hair thing. So they're all slightly different. 2 characters can actually play together at the same time, and the screen is willing to split up to allow both of them.
It's an N64 game. Does the controller hamper like playing
But-
the game? at all?
Nope, it's really just 2-button jump attack. Oh, actually no, jump attack projectile. Pretty straightforward. I probably seldom changing some of the physics. Probably wouldn't touch the layout. So,
So
I would
out of 25,
yeah. So like besides physics on its
20.
own,
I mean, physics
like-
can be pretty big.
but like
23?
they're not bad. It's just like I wouldn't make them exactly the same.
System utilization. Do you think this is the most systemic game of all time?
The most systemic game?
The most systemic.
What does that
game of all
mean?
time.
Don't ask. So, like, how do you think it? Is there much chaff? Is it the perfect
No,
type
this
platform?
was Gomen shaving off the chav. Like the very first one, that was like the open world and all the houses. That was like Mario 64 did it, so now we have to do it. And then as a result, a lot of the game was kind of empty, running around. There isn't anything. This was just like, okay, let's just go back to what the game is. This is a platformer. It's going to be challenging. And then like it is indeed challenging. It's just straightforward. Let's just do the Gomen platformer for the N64. And it is pretty damn fun. It's, if you like platformers, I would strongly push this one.
Okay. So, Max, there's no like, oh, I sure hate that this is in this game.
I'm
I wish
trying.
this wasn't.
I'm recombing through it because like they have town levels in which you can accept mini games and they'll put you back in the same stages with different objectives. You can find the other members of your team. You can buy armor. So like if you're like, this game is too hard, I need to take more damage, you can like buy like the Dongan Damon Rice balls and get three more hit points. You can get the, I don't know, the
Dongan Damon Rice balls.
Tia Tamarakun Rice balls. And then
go home,
get
Roger.
3 more hits. Yeah, go home, Roger.
So the perfect Pat experience, 20 points for utilizing its systems.
I'm trying to think of what a
activation.
For what? Wait, what?
Yeah, now read tax evasion.
The sister tax evading game.
Sister tax evasion game.
I'm sorry. Tia Mowry files for divorce from husband Corey Hardict. This happened just a month ago.
You just turned into a mermaid. What's happening?
Yeah.
So like the robot and the girl have the ability to go underwater. Gomen and Ibitsumaru can't. So he had to switch characters to go underwater. So it's either Ye or the robot.
So 20 points for utilization. No complaints.
I'm coming hard because like if I'm the only one, I gotta like be really critical on it. So like what else is in there?
It sounds like it's pretty much a straightforward platformer.
Pretty much like they just stopped trying to copy Mario. Oh, then you find evil Ibitsumaru and he's like, we're gonna race to the top of the mountain. And you're like, okay, I sure will.
This world stage looks like an Ape Escape level.
Yeah.
Like when you're racing like your friend. Are these races fun?
I almost forgot about these. Yeah. Oh yeah, like every character had something so that you wouldn't just like find one character you like. They did force you to switch for like stuff like this in case you were getting too comfortable with just one. Like I really did like that. Oh my god.
So.
Yeah, I can't find any marks on that one.
All right. As far as conveying information, I gotta say, I don't know what any of that UI at the bottom means.
Yeah.
One is life.
Yeah, one is life. One is the time of day because it switches to day and night, and at nighttime there's more dangerous enemies, but you get more money. Daytime is easier enemies with less money. You got number of lives, and then he's just carrying an item. That's about it. That's all it is. However, I will dock it because if you're not Japanese and you can't read Japanese, you won't know. Like, this is the safe house. This is the house where you buy food.
Oh, sure.
So you pretty much have to experiment and just know, like, the safe house is the one with the blue door, or the food house is the one with the white stuff. So you can differentiate it that way. But yeah, it would definitely just help to read. In that sense, so I would dock it on that. So if you're Japanese, you know, like that doesn't affect you at all. But like you did release this internationally and didn't bother to like change any of that.
So 6, okay.
I do like a 6.
I guess I should pull up some long play so I can hear it.
Yeah. Another very stylized sound N64 game. It's pretty serviceable. Besides the soundtrack itself, which is just straight fucking fire. I would say, like, yeah, this is.
Oh, yeah, it's got some good.
I'm sorry. What is the full title?
Yeah, listen to like the
Mystical Ninja 2.
If you're gonna listen to anything this level, like the Ryugu Castle level, is fire. Like that is the song of this game.
I just pulled up a long play and just clicking through. Yeah, I'm down with this music.
Yeah, but the music is like amazing.
Okay.
The rest sounds like a crusty N64 game.
But yeah, the rest is just like, yeah, this is average for the N64. So,
like a 4?
Yeah, it's like a 3-4. Like the music strong, but average game. I wish I could just do decimal points, but I'll go down to just a 3.
In N64, having music that good is kind of impressive. Like an N64 game.
Yeah, it's
some a crusty console for audio.
What the fuck is a British fruit square?
What? Oh yeah, you gotta get your you gotta get your British fruit squares.
No thanks.
Target visuals.
Oof, yeah, so everything's pretty blocky. I would say it's a stronger looking N64 game, but that's it. Like, I know what you want to do. You want to do like this anime thing. It's like a 2.
I like the look. Like looking at the long play, it looks cool.
Yeah, it looks cool, but
It's
yeah.
definitely crusty.
It looks cool. It looks crusty, and I think that guy's a big pervert. He's got a little pervert.
I like that guy, and I like that there's an evil version of him that works.
Like, is the evil version of him like decent? Is he like negative world? Like, oh, I actually like.
Yeah, he's like respectful to women.
I keep my pants on all day. I never just whip it out in public, not like the other version of me.
Oh
My gosh, what a monster!
no, he's just related to James Dean. Like that's in the game. In the game, he's related to James Dean.
I gotta say,
All right.
after watching RJ play some Shadow Hearts, that's a pretty weak reference to real life random bullshit.
Very much.
Some of his parts.
Yeah, let's utilize like this is. Let's get rid of the fat. Let's get back to it. Let's do the Goman thing. So, besides some of its, yeah, I'm just gonna dock it because it's visuals, even though it is a good N64 title.
There's another one.
That looks like a snowboard kid right there.
Yeah, that is a snowboard kid.
I gotta see
yeah.
the snowboard kid that y'all are talking about.
It's all of them.
Mm.
The one with the big nose, the one with the bigger nose.
Oh, I forgot about this. Okay, yeah, I'm the giant fighting robot parts.
That looks
definitely
sick.
got better.
Yeah, Obisimaru definitely has a part of him that I don't want to sum up, but other than that looks fine.
So
Yeah, that's
What'd you
you know
say?
what? That probably just took away another point.
I hate to
was-
spoil,
Oh, wow.
but it's already not going to make it.
Is
So-
it not?
more than likely.
Oh, well.
Fun, yeah, in the world of if you like a good challenging platformer that's like fun to speedrun or just fun to play and explore, or fun to look for multiple exits, or fun to, it's definitely not like the top, but it is up there. I would happily
time.
replay this.
Mm.
Story is just, this is nonsensical anime. Yeah, it's not really the point of the game.
There's a
But it
capo.
does try to have one. It is trying to tell something. So it's,
Like, what happens at the end? Like, okay, tell me,
Bad
like,
version.
what's Gomon's like motivation as a character? Like, what is he trying to do?
Hey, Ibitsumaru, let's relax. Oh no, we can't relax because aliens are like invading the planet. Wait, what? No,
The
really?
Mario
let's get the
Sunshine
giant-
approach.
Yeah.
Okay. Ibisimaru shows his penis to a stranger, and we're just
Whoa,
like, "God damn it."
whoa! You gotta take that down. And then, for its time, I know people
Try to
probably
avoid
were just
jail.
like, they probably were not keen on the fact that it was a 2D platformer in disguise as a 3D game, because this was the point in time where we're like, oh, games are 3D now. We need to have 3D worlds and 3D this and that.
Mm-hmm.
And also
Your
definitely
call.
not talked about. Definitely not. It's just
Right.
most people did not know.
I feel like
this-
that has already been docked for like effect on gaming culture. I think
Yeah.
for its time is more like how
the game itself.
right,
and
like
is
how
there other-
impressive was it in 1908?
Oh, my son came by and he read me a Christmas card.
He showed me
Yeah.
Obasimaru, and I
That's a-
sent him to the.
Someone's Great Adventure
Slammer.
is a 71.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of like 6s and 7s, maybe a couple 8s.
Yeah. It's it is too weak.
I was gonna say.
I just wanted to shoot my shot.
Hey.
I did.
No, I respect it. I respect it. Like, looking at this game, this doesn't look bad. Like, it's looking.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's fun.
Like,
you would have a
I
good
could
time.
play this on an emulator for 30 minutes and have a good time with it. I was also gonna say RacketBoy.com's Best Undiscovered and Nintendo 64 Gems platformer section has the first Goemon game on it, but not this one. Actually, no, I'm wrong. It has both.
I
Of
would do
them.
the reverse.
It has
Yeah,
Mr.
I-
Ninja Starring Goemon. It has both of them. So someone likes this game.
I wonder if a bunch of games, because like I'm cool with games not making the list, but the 2 games that haven't made it this time did it due to irrelevancy more than the quality of the game itself. So I wonder if that's something we need to circle back to if it ends up being a problem where this is all
like
everything that comes up
rebalance,
top.
like This
That,
like
that yeah, that
way
15.
more to gameplay.
Yeah,
pretty
or
much.
even like the other stuff, but and like less on its relevancy in culture.
Way more
But-
sound design, so Rez can make it.
Sure, yeah. I would say like that's something if it continues to be like, oh, the stuff isn't making it because of that first 15%. While it otherwise seems like it's all right. Something
yeah,
to
I definitely
keep in
yeah.
mind.
I'm always on team. I just like the game itself versus the subjective stuff.
Right.
Like I don't really care how much fun somebody has as long as it's good. I don't really care about like the visuals and shit because like I'll play Goemon's Great Adventure. It doesn't look the best, like I'll still fucking play it.
Yeah.
Well,
But anyway, that was
everyone's contributed, so I guess the
Everyone's
floor is
got
open
one.
now.
that was a good round. Let's see, we're sitting at 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Everyone's picked one game. We got one from Gen 3, a handheld, a Gen 5, and a Gen 7.
Not comfortable with this game having yay in it. That's a little weird.
What's wrong with the yay?
He's got them Yeezys on.
Lot of things are wrong with yay these days. I don't. That came in with wanted to do Mega Man 2, and now I'm not sure.
Let's see what gens haven't got it. So we haven't done a
mean-
Gen 4, haven't done a Gen 6, haven't done a Gen 9 or a Gen 8.
I got a Gen 6 suggestion.
All right.
Killer 7.
Oh, let's go.
This might break my heart.
Don't worry, I will.
For a
break this.
moment like this.
I think I should be honest here. I have finished this game like 3 times, and I did so I did the PC version like within the last year.
Mm.
So I think I finished every release, like the GameCube, the PS2, and the PC version of this.
I've never fully played it.
I fucking love this game.
Yeah.
So
It's
I,
like
One of the
can't-
times,
kind of-
one of the times
Yeah.
you and I like hung out while playing.
Yeah, I played through this. This game definitely has some stinky bits, but it's got a funk to it. But oh man,
Let's see.
hard. I
Hold
need
on.
to look up the name of a character for this game.
Probably and I think I know who it is.
Almeida.
Not him. Well, yeah, him too. Actually, he's a problem. But there's a guy who might be worse.
The t-shirt guy.
No, I know Curtis.
Curtis.
He's
Curtis, what do
he's
you
one of-
think?
He's the best.
One of the villains. He might be the worst person in a video game. Like, just, oh my god, this game has not aged well at all.
Hold
Like,
on.
just looking at it.
I gotta.
I'll say so I don't know if this is true, but a lot of people suspect, and like looking at the UI for it, like the PC version has like memory card slot A or B. A lot of people think that the PC version is just Dolphin in a box.
Yeah,
Really?
that's sick.
Like,
Fuck
because
yeah.
when you go to load
Lazy
your
ass
game,
motherfuckers.
and when you go to load your game, you can load it from slot A or slot B. It's real fucked. You can play it 60 frames per second on PC, which is nice.
Oh my god, this game is so stylish.
Oh my god, this game. I mean, you want to talk about a game whose look has aged well.
Yes.
You probably don't get too much better than this. So you should probably start kicking this off.
Yeah, effect on gaming culture. Certainly less than I would like.
Yeah.
It definitely for a while was the like video games are art. Look at Shadow of the Colossus and Killer 7. But I think that argument has kind of fallen to the wayside as people have as Roger Ebert died, and so no one really debates the merit of games as art anymore. But I think it's just kind of not talked about in the same way it used to be. I think time has kind of tossed the game to the wayside a little bit.
I think so too. They did that PC port, and so it's very much available. And it's not like people were like, "You gotta go out and play this hidden gem, Killer 7." It's like the people who wanted to replay it did, and everyone else kind of didn't care. I feel like
So it's looking like it's pretty low then.
Yeah,
We
I
already bought it. And that's
It-
about it.
I will
think I
say
also owned it on Steam.
I will say this game culturally had a big effect on me personally. This was a game I remember. I know we don't want to get into like personal anecdotes too much, but I remember because this was probably also a GameFly buy or a
Mhm.
GameFly game that I rented, and I remember playing this like right before I was about to go to school, right before I was about to go to college and meet a lot of you guys, and thinking about like the game design major and like was I gonna do computer science or game design? Which one did I want to do? I remember playing this and thinking like, games can be a lot of things. Like I know we talk about that a lot about like games, being more than just games and games telling a story
Mhm.
more significant. This game, maybe even more than BioShock, was very much like, wow, you can really do a lot of things with video games. Like you can make video games all kinds of weird ways, and it can just like look at this gameplay. Like look at this like standstill on rails weird bullshit sort of a first person shooter game they made, and like they made this. Like you can play this. They finished this project. It came out, and it kind of works. And it's really crazy that it does. It's really insane that this game exists and is as good as it is, even if people don't think it's very good. Even if I know it's not perfect, it's certainly not perfect. Um, to me, this game is very significant of being like, hey, you can take old genres that we think are like
Yeah.
finished and complete and done, and you can never improve on, and just say, you know what? Fuck every convention about how this game works and or how these games work, and we're just gonna do it completely differently. Invent a whole new control scheme, a whole new way we design puzzles and bosses and combat and everything, and just this is our idea. Fuck everyone else.
Why is he
Um,
dad's girl though?
Because he has the greatest T-shirt collection of any character
he has
in
a
the history of
wonderful,
fiction.
Why is he
wonderful
daddy's
tank top.
girl?
I
Makes
would.
us do-
There are two arguments I would make in favor of this game. Uh, in this first category, in the
Yeah.
culture category. One, while it isn't really talked about now, it was kind of a foundational piece in the in talking about games as art and talking about games as more than toys. Like up there with like Shadow of the Colossus and Silent Hill and some of those games. Like Metal Gear a little bit earlier. Like I guess it's like 5 or 6 years earlier, but like this is the one where it's like one of the earliest like really at least on consoles esoteric like wackadoo art things. It was almost like an art piece more than a game even, if that makes sense. Like I think it really was like a almost a cornerstone for that discussion in that era. And maybe the fact that we don't really have that discussion anymore is because games like Killer 7 allowed uh developers to try more stuff like that. Certainly in Japan. Secondly, it's a Capcom 5 game, which no one really talks about anymore, but that was like a big debate in shit like console exclusivity and all that business, and was a big real hyped game for its time, even though it's one of the four that isn't Resident Evil 4, and so doesn't really get talked about anymore.
Yeah.
Want to also point out that this is probably the game that everyone now knows Suda 51 for. Like
True.
if his name was not like people buy his games because his name's on it now. And I feel
Yeah.
like no one knew about his other stuff before this game coming out.
Yeah, he's one of the few directors of a game who we know the name of. We know by name.
Yeah, I might
And-
argue that game is actually No More Heroes at this point, but it's
Mhm.
kind of No More Heroes, and also if you play No More Heroes, you should consider buying Killer 7 on like those are the people who bought Killer 7 on Steam, I bet, are people who played No More Heroes and wanted a way to play this game.
And the people who bought No More Heroes on the Wii are the people who knew about Killer 7.
Yeah.
So I would say it's like higher falutin than Goemon.
Like a 5 or
Sure.
Yeah. We are arguing about maybe about 5 or 6 points.
so like 5.
Yeah. That hurts. Hey, oh man, this is hard to.
I know, because I'm like, oh, this like
Controls.
this is one of
and
those games
gameplay.
when we were discussing the merits of presentation,
Mhm.
and stat being like, gameplay is king, and it's like, I don't know. This is one of those games where it's like, it's like it should get like 50 points for presentation out of a 25.
Yeah, it should.
Because like,
But if the game is ass, then I don't really care.
Yeah, but you suck in our lane. So
that is true, and I think therefore this game is a banger, and we play.
All right, here, let me just pull up Excel. We'll make my own.
Here's a list of real bangers.
Well, if the no can engage isn't on there, then I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, so controls what, like a 15, a 10, like it's kind of shitty.
This is a weird one for me because you remember we were talking about Stat was just talking about this about like, well, I could play Goemon whatever. It's not a big deal to me. Like I can deal with kind of the Nintendo 64-ness of it, the sort of the platformeriness of it.
No, but you still dock it just because like it can be done better.
Yeah. Like for me, playing through this game on the PC again, it was like riding a bike. Like it was like, yeah, I've played through this game 2 other times. I know exactly how it works. I know the controls. It's fine. I feel like if you give this to most people, they're gonna be like, "What the fuck is this?"
Like if I sit down and try to figure it out, well, I kind of be like, okay, I understand the controls, but it's still clunky, or I understand the controls and they look like a dream, or I understand the controls and they're still pretty bad. Like there's a difference there.
You'll understand the controls and you're gonna be like, "These are bad."
Yeah, because in order to what you do when you're actually in a game or in a level, you hold down A to go.
Okay.
Like you don't move the stick to move up and down. You hold A and your guy starts running. And he's on a linear path until you make it to a branching point. And then you can then use your control stick to point to which are the branching points that you want to go to. Or you hit B to like turn back around and hold A to go forward again. Because you don't have actual movement over your character.
Yeah, you don't have full control of your character in the 3D space. You run on these linear paths, and okay, now we're just gonna do it, aren't we?
Yep, I'm just gonna while y'all are hashing it out, I'm gonna try to get my.
So the other thing is to aim and shoot at enemies, no matter wherever you are on your like path, you could hold down. I think it's the right trigger or the left trigger, and you think it's one of those like you press A to shoot games, and you can aim anywhere on the screen. But it's like a first-person thing, but you're locked in place. You are locked in this first-person view, and enemies. Wow, you are just wow. Open.
Stat can process information at 150% speed.
Yeah, Stat is like that movie Salt, where he uses 100. Was that the movie Lucy, where he uses 150%? But only for GameCube games. It's really weird.
Okay.
So you're gonna get to
okay, I understand. Yep. So A is forward. This is turn around. Okay, I'm picking up what you're putting down. Let's go.
So eventually, in a little bit, you're gonna get to a here's a tutorial on the controls, and they're gonna be like, okay, guy, look, this is how this game works. And they'll show you how to shoot and move and do all this stuff. Man, this game's stylish.
Mm-hmm.
You're shooting that guy.
That's the save point guy, right?
Well, he's the tips guy. He's everywhere.
Yes.
Samantha is the save point lady.
Right, you're right.
But she can only save if she's wearing a maid's outfit. If she's in her street clothes, she won't save for you.
Yeah.
It depends on the light on the door. So okay, now I'm looking at the game and also trying to describe the game. So yeah, the controls the controls are a little rough because it kind of feels like it's supposed to be a standard third-person shooter, but has like these weird like I was saying, like this idea that you can just take all third-person adventure game conventions and just fucking throw them away and just just make a different thing, just make a different game instead. And it feels like it's being different for the sake of being different, which I think fits with the game's aesthetic very well, which is why I appreciate it. But I also understand if you're being realistic, it's hard to. You just skip the whole tutorial. Okay.
Yeah. So you need to stand button.
He can't scan. Yeah, that's the other thing. Enemies are invisible. And you need to scan with one of the other buttons.
I think it's aim and L. I think.
Yeah. So are we still talking about the controls?
Yeah. I'm trying to get because I don't. If I pick this up as I am now, I'm not like this isn't a third person shooter, blue, blue, blue. I'm more like, okay, this is how this is working. Point and shoot, pretty much this is how I would expect it. Looks like you can go forwards and backwards. That's kind of just what you're telling me about the rules.
Complicated. It's just
Really
really weird.
Yeah, like the first time I tried this game was I was like a high schooler, and I believe I dropped it because I like could not get the hang of it after playing a bunch of shooters.
Yeah.
Oh no, this makes sense. It's fine.
Yeah. You can do it, and you can talk to Travis. He's got a cool shirt. He says funky. He's funky.
So
yeah, you really painted this where you were almost a little bit too harsh, I would say.
Yeah, I definitely.
I will accept
That guy.
higher.
I have never played this, so this is like my first time playing it.
I will accept points on this. You do get into some like abilities later, and like the different personalities have their different abilities, and you have to know how those work. They're not too complicated. It's like, oh, you do the charge shot with this one, you do the blood shot with this one, and this like one of them. One of the characters can zoom in, like she has like a scope on her gun, and so she's the one who can zoom in.
So there's like slightly different abilities based on the. Okay, yeah, that makes more sense.
Like this thing you're about to fight, you need to use one of the abilities in order to be able to actually shoot it. Like that thing. You're gonna need blood, because that yellow dot you're gonna need to do Dan's charge shot on. You need to shoot that egg too, or else you're just gonna smoke you. So you need to like farm blood.
I was trying to turn around.
God, that like even reloading just looks cool. So.
Oh yeah, and you can reload manually as well. So yeah, shooting that thing manually is not gonna do anything.
Oh, I just assumed it was glowing, so I was like, all right.
I think you do it. Doesn't like I feel like someone said something. There's no, the UI isn't there. There it is.
Yeah, you need to collect these blood vials, and then you need to use, I forget what button it is. And
maybe you won't get full marks for conveying information, but also
I'm just trying to figure it out right now.
Kind of the deal is that this game is really out there.
Yeah. Also, you skipped the whole tutorial.
Right.
Yeah, like it was gonna tell me, but I was just like, you know what? Let's just see if I can do it. And right now, like, like
all right.
I'm picking it up.
What would you give out of 25 for controls?
So let me see if I can toggle sensitivity now that I'm in here, because the shooting does feel a little bit stiff.
I don't know if this might predate toggling sensitivity.
Yeah, this is a little like not as fast as I would like. I would definitely like to switch this number right here.
You might not be able to do that.
Ryan, did the PC version have mouse and keyboard support?
No.
Okay.
I'm sure someone modded it in, but like, yep, nope.
Because that might ruin the game by making it like way easier. Way
too good, yeah. So like if it's like the balance is that I can't quite shoot too good. That's like a hard thing to strike to still make that feel good. Like
I also would not recommend this game for its gameplay. It's like the last thing I would recommend it for. Mm-hmm. But I would recommend this game very highly.
Damn.
I don't know if I would.
But controls wise, yeah, it's like it looks like a forward, a reverse. I have some options I can choose to split my path if I so choose. I'm pretty much playing an on-rails shooter in which I control the character, is what I'm gathering.
Yeah, like Resident Evil Survivor, but good.
So I would probably compare this to like Dark Side Chronicles, House of the Dead, Overkill. Like how are we stacking against those?
I wouldn't compare it to a light gun game.
Or like maybe not a direct light gun game, but it's in that ballpark is what I'm gathering. Maybe not as like intense, over the top, a bunch of shit's hopping out at you. Maybe it's like more slow and methodical.
Like, are there any other games that are like kind of in the same?
Yeah, not really. Like, not a lot of other Killer 7s is.
Yeah, this is a very unique video game.
For what you're telling me in terms of how it is working, yeah, like, but besides, like, I just want some number tweaks, but I'll play along with it.
Well, what would you give it?
Maybe like 20, 22?
Wow.
All right, sure.
Honestly, like, no, wait, what were you guys gonna give? What were you guys gonna give it?
I'm gonna go like a 15.
Like a 15, yeah.
And maybe
24.
Oh. You're all, damn, y'all were gonna dip a lot, weren't you?
Yeah, games.
Is it just because it's on rails and you just don't
I just
think
remember the
people-
shooting being trouble for me when I was 16.
But again, like this is a tutorial. I have yet to see. Like, am I gonna get spammed with like 5 or 6 monsters and be like, oh
Absolutely.
shit, I can't shoot them all?
You'll eventually have a
Absolutely.
bunch of guys walking at
Yeah.
you. I mean, you can shoot them all, but
It'll happen.
But like, thus far, I'm like, oh, okay. And I have yet to see what they're gonna do with
And
it.
then you're gonna get Soul Shell.
he's gonna talk to Travis first.
You need to talk to Travis first.
She's a bad girl.
But in terms of just like itself, like this guy himself and how he controls Sans, like the stuff around him and what he's interacting with, like it's fine. Maybe
Yeah.
like it's just a rail shooter that you
He's picking up
move.
Soul Shell.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll go along with 22. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
God,
Okay.
God damn. All
I
right.
like it.
The rare instance of us flipping opinions, I guess.
I certainly wasn't expecting
Okay.
that.
Why
Utilization.
not? Why not?
Based on my history with the game.
Oh.
But yeah.
But yeah, like the system utilization, like, so this would be like if they're spamming you too much and you can't keep up, is not doing it well.
That does happen. There's some boss fights in particular where it's just like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with it? Like, you have to use one of the abilities, and it's just like, what is this? What do you do?
I really don't remember much of the boss fights outside of sniping as wheelchairman.
Yeah. Okay, there you go.
Just pick
Yeah,
up the
there's some
claw
parts-
from the Claw Doctor cartoon.
It's a duplicator.
Oh yes,
Everything's
you need
fine.
to.
Go down.
You need
Okay,
to.
I'll go back.
There's a lot of weird shit in this game.
I will go.
There are some. Wow. There are some parts of this game that are, man, the speed up on the emulator is really freaking me out. There are parts of this game where like they definitely spam you with a ton of enemies, but there's also a part in this game where like the power balance changes and your rate of fire gets really crazy, and like your abilities and your like gunshot power becomes super strong. You just ran into an invisible enemy.
Oh,
You gotta
let's
scan.
go.
Um,
Did I die?
yeah,
Yes.
Oh, you're
So,
Whoa.
yeah, what you need to do, you're supposed
Okay.
to listen out for like the laughter, because the Heaven Smile laugh.
Mm.
I'm
Before
sure
they blow up.
they probably told me. I was just trying to get a feel
If
for
you
the
want to
game.
play as Garcia Smith.
And you can play as Garcian, and now Garcian's you gotta find your
He's the
body as
player.
Garcian. You really, okay, that's not what you wanted doing.
Yes, I do. What are you talking about?
This is a guy, if you walk to this guy in this room, he will just dump all of the like system information on you if you want to hear it. Like, he's got a lot of stuff for you to...
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, see, this is good at conveying information.
He conveys information by dumping it all at you at once.
I mean, it's been a long time since I played this game, so I can't remember how much like annoying crap there is. I just remember it was really sick.
I also
I
still
played-
really appreciate Dolphin. It's just like ultra wide. Yeah, man, I got you, and it just does it fine.
Yeah, this looks weird. Yeah, because I realized now you can
Yeah.
see so much.
Yeah, like,
I
I
would
would love the fact that I can just do that.
I would say this game conveys a bunch of information all up at the front, and you have to deal with that. But after that, it's like, yeah, you got it.
Information in the front, party in the back.
Yeah, it pretty
Mm.
much it tells you everything you need to know about its gameplay systems really early on, and then you don't really struggle with it afterwards.
There's not much gameplay afterwards. It's
Yeah, there
like-
really isn't.
It's mostly like all the cool characters and cutscenes and stuff, and it's actually more like an
A
adventure
movie?
game.
Yeah. It's an adventure game where the puzzle... Okay, the other thing is that the puzzles in this game, because this is kind of survival horror-esque, in terms of like key item puzzles and trying to unlock doors. Because of the way the map works, the puzzles kind of solve themselves. Like, they're not very hard, because it's just like, oh, go here, like, with this... Go to this door with this character. Go to this door with this item. There are parts towards the end where you can get kind of lost, because the environments get very large. But beyond that, like, it's pretty simple to pretty much just, like, go down the direction you haven't gone yet. You know, talk to the person you haven't talked to yet, and eventually the game just kind of continues on its own.
It even if you're looking at like the when you're about to choose where to go, I think it shows you like it's colored in a certain
Yeah.
way to like let you know like
directions you
which
haven't-
directions been
Yeah.
Oh wait, so like it'll show me directions I haven't gone to.
Yeah, like if the path is colored blue, you've gone that way before. Or if the path is not colored blue, you have not gone that way before.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Oh.
system utilization.
System
Yeah,
utilization.
you guys know better than I do. Like how well is it all used?
I guess Ryan would be the
I've played it more
foremost
recently.
authority. Yeah.
How many is it out of? You have to stop playing. You have to stop.
It's
20.
20.
20.
It's out of 20.
'Cause there are definitely some parts towards the end where they just throw a zillion enemies at you and they're a giant pain in the ass. And you have like there's parts where you have to like shoot like a enemy in plated armor and you have to like shoot their ankles. So that's the only part that's exposed, and it's just like making like annoying aiming things that you have to do. I might give it like 13, 14. If I'm being really honest. Like there are some enemies that are just a gigantic fucking pain in the ass. Like they're supposed to be a pain in the ass for you to deal with.
Yeah, I mean that I would probably give it a little bit higher just because I don't remember there being like things that are not running and shooting and funk.
Like, do you remember the like Ayame Blackburn boss fight where she just dumps at you and you dump at her and you just see who lives longer?
Oh yeah, that fight's cool.
What?
It's a
Wait,
great
what?
cutscene. It's an awesome like the cutscene that happens like the intro to it is fantastic, and like it's that whole style of it is great, but then you have to shoot her and she's just pumping you full of bullets and you try to shoot her first and who shoots who first wins. There's a lot of that in this game, and so I feel like it's one of those things where you gotta be ready to kind of accept that there's going to be some funky gameplay things in it. I don't know. We need to put score down for this. I'm gonna say
Yeah.
I'm gonna say like 13.
I'll say 15.
Okay.
14. Right in the middle.
Okay.
14.
13, 14, 15.
I wonder what that average is.
Ryan, Ayame Blackburn, Japanese American, presumably, in the Killer 7 wiki.
Conveying information.
That makes sense.
So, does the game convey information? Depends on if you think it should, because it gives you all the info you need at the very beginning, and then just kind of leaves you high and dry. But it's also supposed to be like really weird and alien in a way. So I don't know if that is a negative necessarily.
Yeah. Like when you go to its tutorial and you go like through its system explanations, it will explain them to you in its weird stylistic way. Like it's not gonna ever straightforward be like, okay, look, press the right trigger to shoot, like or press the right trigger to aim, press the A button to shoot, do all that. Like it's always talking in character. It never lets up.
Like check out like if you talk to Iwazaru in the in this room, the Gimp Man. I think like what he has to say is very out there in terms of like game controls. Oh, he might not be here anymore.
Well, he's gonna
fill up the blood
he's gonna be in the
vials.
saver. We can't keep looking at you play this game. Like we can't.
I'm getting distracted. Now I want to play it again.
This is dragging the conversation on so long.
Anyway, I will say 7. Like
the information.
Like it's esoteric by design.
It is esoteric by design. It doesn't. The thing is, the gameplay systems are so simple. That's why, like, you kind of just figure it out on your own. There's some boss fights that are a little weird, but other than that, it's not too bad. I'd give it like a 6.
All right, so we got 7, 6. What else? Or is that pretty much? We just want to stay in that range.
Stay in that range.
So yeah, so law averages calls it a 7. Sound design. So far, what I'm hearing is pretty fucking sharp.
I do love that sound.
The laughs are great when those guys explode in the little blood dust. It sounds awesome. The music's awesome.
And my favorite thing is the voice acting. I love the
You're fucked.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're fucked. You're all fucked.
I like the characters that don't get like Travis and Iwazaru. They sound like evil Animal Crossing characters. Like they have like that automata pure like evil Banjo-Kazooie character.
Yeah.
Everyone has this kind of like off kill, like it's other video games do this too, this kind of like sound to indicate voices, but theirs just sounds sort of like off and weird and creepy in like a perfect way. Like it's like very appropriate for their characters, like the breathy, weird way that Travis talks, or like the way if someone dies and becomes a ghost and talks to you later, like they don't. That happens.
What?
It's like it's like a.
Can I just change characters on the fly? Actually,
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Yep. Does it cost blood? I don't remember if it did.
No, you can just do it.
Do Con.
Con and Coyote are who I played as. Oh yeah, that sound right there.
And then I just run around with Con for a minute and just see how fast this fucker runs.
Oh
Yeah,
shit!
he runs quite fast.
Whoa! Would you say he runs like this? Or would he run like this?
And if you hold A and then press B at the exact same time, I think he does like a quick roll.
We are fighting dreamers.
I don't know why that's even a thing.
Does Coyote say you're fucked whenever he shoots in general, or just at a guy?
When he gets the weak point.
The crit, yeah.
You're
Hooray.
fucked.
Oh, I hit the left stick to reload.
Or the C stick? Yeah.
C-stick.
Yeah,
sorry,
C-stick. Oh.
And I love that he reloads by like playing
Doing the
like
old hop. Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, like the way this guy thought, like all the sound design in this game, I think is
I was supposed to talk to him. I just did not talk to him.
yeah, like you're kind of skipping through to a lot of big parts of this
Anyway, I think sound and I think visuals and I think some of its parts are all full.
Yes.
I think
Yeah,
if there's
this is hitting the mark here. This is
presentation the game. Like,
Like this game looks good now, right? Like you're looking at this now and you're like,
digging
looks solid.
So that's a 5. That's a 5. Some of its parts. You
I-
sure nothing's dragging it down there? You
There's a
sure
guy.
nothing?
There's a guy in the Texas level who wears a shirt that says Texas Bronco on it, and he has an
Yeah.
afro.
And
You're saying nothing here is dragging it down. There's not a single thing that it's a negative for the sum of its parts.
I would
That's-
say there are parts of the story that go a little too off the rails, to the
disagree.
point that playing it on the PC version recently now, this is maybe more just the story. It gets maybe a little too edgy at times. It's like, okay, I get it. It's really violent. Like it's really, really violent. You're never gonna pick up Dan's head, are you?
I mean, it's kind of like I mean, to some degree, that's taste, right? Like
Yeah, it's taste, and some of it is just aged. Like there are a couple of scenes in particular that have aged very fucking bad in this game,
Like
and like
what?
that's time. There's like I guess it's not a school shooting, but it's like a office shooting sequence that you see in first person. That's real rough. That same character is like a child trafficker, and like that's his whole story thing. Like Curtis Blackburn is maybe the worst person in a video game. Like he's
I wouldn't dock
really,
it points for that though, just because the subject
really,
matter.
really rough. No, I wouldn't. But it's also
I mean,
one
it
of
doesn't
those-
make like light of those things.
no
Maybe it doesn't treat them with like
the
the
severity it needs to.
seriousness that of what it is. But
Yeah, that's my thing.
my vote is 7 points.
Yeah,
Ooh, here
I
we
would
go.
also say
Now we're getting some enemies.
I would say the puzzles are also a little simple. Like they don't really add anything to the game, but they're also not supposed to add much. Like they're
Right.
kind of just there for set dressing in a way.
Like some of its parts is really like the game as a package, and I think this unlike BioShock, I think this game weathers its
Yes.
chaff.
Yes. Okay. In that regard, yes, I would say that it should get full points for it.
Alrighty then. But yeah, if I can see like now that I'm kind of getting a feel for it, because like I definitely saw trailers of this for the GameCube and just the way it looked kind of deterred me away. But now that I'm physically playing it, I can kind of like, yeah, I can get into this.
I would definitely say with regard to controls, once you got the hand of it, it played fine.
It
Yeah,
doesn't even take that long to get into
Well-
it. It's literally like a few seconds.
Go fuck yourself.
What are you talking?
I don't know.
It's just like 2 buttons. What do you mean?
That blow.
There is going to be a part where God, I've been talking for a long time. There are going to be parts where you're going to get mobbed by a bunch of enemies all at once. and
Hell
it's gonna be
yeah.
like, okay, Yeah, you gotta do
Oh,
this
so this is this like a boss? Is this a
no,
No.
first smile.
Oh, hello.
You can possibly get some extra blood out of that thing. You also really need to pick up Dan. Good
Dan.
God.
I don't think like if this was like the start of his playthrough, that'd be one
Yeah.
thing. But I think he's just
Yeah,
Let's go.
I'm really just trying to I'm trying to
Get a
see
sense
what
for
y'all are saying. Yeah,
So fun factor. I
Uh,
think this game rules.
I'm kind of liking it.
kind of fun to play. It's
I'm
okay.
kind of liking it. It's kind
alright.
of. I could probably I can
It's got
dig
a zip.
it.
As far as emotional response, I certainly am responding emotionally to thinking of Killer Side and how awesome.
I'd give fun factor a 4.
All right, he's going to 4. If on rail, I'm just trying to think of other. Yeah, it seems like it's got like an explorer element as well as like the on rail shooter. This is literally just like an on rail shooter that you can explore, which is like I didn't even think you could pull that off, and yet they did. Yeah,
Very unique video game.
this is
Very
really
unique video game.
it's very unique. Yeah. But yeah, I think 4 is pretty like I'm not like I'm gonna go seek this out. I'm gonna play it right when the stream's over. But like, yeah, it's I'm digging it.
I'd give it 4.
Okay, so you're going 6, 2 4s. What about you, RJ? If you've played it or not?
Four.
Dang. All right, 18. All right, so it comes out with its 5. Story. I got no fucking idea. That's all y'all. What is the story?
It's not finished. That's the one thing about the story, is that it's a Metal Gear Solid 5 situation where it is definitely not complete. There was a lot of someone mentioned in chat, like this, there was a lot of cut content. Like there are cutscenes you'll get into later where they like, there's clearly supposed to be an intro to this character that we just didn't get because it wasn't finished. It's one of those games where like there's a in Japanese only like light novel that explains some of the stuff that you're supposed to know. I think the big parts that it hits though, especially as you get into the resolution, not a lot of games get into that serious of a topic.
Right.
And certainly not with that much style.
Like what topic?
I mean, it's just like the way it handles it's kind of like semi-murder mystery, like paranormal like investigation thing is really it does so with a lot like it does so with a level of seriousness and style at the same time that is very unique. Like I feel like if you made this game today, it would be kind of a lot more anime and a lot more like wacky and irreverent. Whereas for some reason this doesn't have that. It's a lot more grounded. Like Travis Touchdown is not a character in this game. You know what I mean? Like there's not this like weird guy jacking off his sword in this game. It takes itself, you know, it takes the presentation very seriously.
I think it's like Travis or No More Heroes is a game about a weeb trying to be the best assassin. This is a game that is a commentary on the paranoia in the aftermath of 9/11 told with like ghosts.
Yeah.
What? Wait,
Right.
what?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like this game was
What?
really aiming for, and that's really where it's talking about like games as art, like circa 2004 in that discussion. It's like this game was really aiming high.
Yes.
In a way that, I mean, games to this day don't always.
Yeah.
Akin to BioShock, but I think it's actually even like, it's way less on the nose, I guess.
Yes, it's a lot more subtle. Like it aims very high. It doesn't quite hit it every time though.
Right.
Like, it definitely doesn't. Like it's aiming. It's going for this like. Yeah, now I'm thinking about like the geopolitical, like international terrorism plot thing that this game is doing, and like there's a little bit of like mental illness mixed in there, and doesn't handle all that stuff perfectly either. But it really is trying a lot of things.
Yeah, I just like it. I just remember it being really crazy like what it was trying to do with the story. And
yeah. There are a lot of like really crazy moments. Like this is a hell of a ride. If you if you do play it all the way through, it takes a while, but as you get to the end, like it really takes you for something.
Yeah, and like the fact that it's oh, there she goes.
Yep, I know. But the fact that it's what?
It's like it kind of is able to mask a lot of its flaws through it being so trippy and esoteric. You know, where it's like there is like an unfinished story there, but it's kind of like, wow, this is all weird and Japanese and crazy, and so some of that stuff doesn't quite miss the same way a game that's more straightforward.
Yeah, it needs its presentation to tell its story and make that story hit, because if you do read that like the translation of that Japanese light novel thing that explains a little more of the backstory, it's kind of whatever. Like it's fine. It's a lot of like grim assassination plots and all this stuff, and it's when you kind of just lay it down and write it out on paper, it's fine. But it's
It
the
loses
experience
something.
of playing through it
Yeah.
it loses a lot. But when you like play through it as a game and like kind of see it in the order they intend for you to see it, it's very cool.
Carnival. So anyway, what's the number?
I would give it full marks, but I understand anyone who doesn't.
I'd give it full marks on this.
Yeah, same.
All right, full marks. And then, yeah, for its time, this is probably where it actually might take an L, because just definitely had like some mixed responses there.
Oh yeah, for its time, this game reviewed terribly.
Yeah, this is
also
probably
okay.
like a.
I've seen that fucking
How much
game.
of for its time is?
But then I'm really trying
like,
to say more. I think I almost know where you're leaning towards. It's more like if you have like a system or something in its place or something about the gameplay that they kind of just made. This is pretty much for all your grievances of like the hardware was limiting the game somehow, or something to that effect. Like that's where this should be taken into consideration. Like,
I also think visually and narratively in 2004, there's nothing like that. I think I mean, even like cell shading, like, yeah, I guess it was like Wind Waker, but like this was a really, really experimental thing back when it was new. And I think it should get a lot of credit for that.
I remember Nintendo Power reviewing it very highly, but then they were Nintendo Power. So.
Right.
Did they? I'm really surprised about that.
Yeah, because like I read I still have the magazine reviewing this game, just kind of chilling out in the house. Just hey, like, Killer 7 came out today, and
like I don't know what we gave God Hand for its time, but like it was a great action game in its time, and I think this is a great like art game for its time.
There's nothing even compared. This is just a rail shooter that you explore. There's a mystery. There's a story. There's some. This is really hard to stack up against something because I can't think of anything else.
Like imagine this coming out when like the other games were, you know, like Ratchet and Clank and Halo.
Yeah.
You know, like this is really out there.
I will say, on a technical level about the hardware holding it back, the version, like the thing you just play on Dolphin was obviously running 60 frames per second. Neither of the console versions did originally, and the PS2 version does have some pretty significant slowdown in some levels. Like that Olmeda level, because it's a little more open. Like it's still on rails, but like the rails are just kind of like weird open spaces, and so you can get parts where there's a lot of enemies on screen. The game will slow down quite a bit. But like this is one of those cases, like it's kind of like Silent Hill 2, where I almost recommend it now more than I would have then, because I feel like the way that we observe games and the way that we play games and the way that we talk about like the significance of like the culture of making 3-hour-long video documentaries about the meaning behind games that we kind of live in right now, this game holds up much better to that than it did. But you know what I'm trying to like the way
I know what you are.
Serious games discussions in that light, this game is much better than it was when it came out.
This is a game that would warrant 3 hours of discussing its merits and its meanings and
absolutely
X, Y, and Z in a way that lots of games that get 3-hour documentaries aren't.
I am at a loss just because I have really nothing else to correctly like bump it. This is pretty much like you've set a standard and no one else has cared to either show me why your standard is bad or show me why your standard is weak. This is just, yeah, you guys y'all made your own thing.
Yeah,
no one else is.
Like every other attempt to be like this has also come from Suda51, and he really more leaned into the like goofiness of the game, like the funky t-shirts and the weirdo characters, more than like the like crazy dark tone about, you know, paranoia.
Yeah. And 9/11.
And yeah, and so I think
And 9/11.
right.
Yeah.
These are the enemies I remember not liking the shooting for.
I guess all I can say, it is something to be said that nothing else has tried to like one up, replicate, or it is definitely not like a genre defining anything, because no one has attempted to like say, you know what, I can do this better. You know what?
Again,
I like this.
I would give it full marks, because when I think of For Its Time, I don't think like how well people thought of it. I think like where it sits for when it came out, like as a work of art, you know, or as a game.
No, yeah, as a game.
So
I would lean to a 2. Yeah,
I lean to a 2.
So 3, 2, 2. RJ.
Yeah, I'd say about 2.
Right.
It's a 2.
That's a 2 because it's a 2.25. So final score 78.
Oh.
Now, if you guys had given it a 3, it
He's
would have been one short.
Yep. That's
but isn't that accurate to say?
that's the I feel like that. I like it's gaming. It's the effect on gaming culture and the controls.
Now you know how I feel about Xenoblade.
Yeah. Yep. I gotta make myself some coffee real fast. I'll be right back.
Give me
RJ can come with
give me a minute. As well. Take a little.
We've been
stand
going
up,
on-
touch the ground.
Yeah, we've gone on 3 hours 22. How we? Oh man. I actually would, just like for the brief moment I played it, like it seemed like it'd be pretty fun.
Yeah, I liked it.
Honestly, like yeah, like, there is truly nothing else like that. I cannot think in my head what else is like this.
Mhm.
But I think it's just like the last few days of streaming. I might actually be willing to call it.
Let's go to wait for the others to get back.
Yeah. We did what, 5, 6? How many did we do today?
I think we did
Let's see.
5. I think.
So we have Mega Man 2, which made it, BioShock, which made it, and then 3, which have, so there have been more failures today than there have ever been.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess like what we probably really want to bring up for next time, which will of course throw everything we've done back into the fire, is like, do we want this percentage to remain as it is?
Yeah, because
the effect on gaming culture.
That is like a huge number. It feels like now.
Detractor, because yeah, this throws it down into the. You pretty much will only get 75 or 85%. For just not being culturally relevant, when we're really trying to find like what are the great games that you should play, which is the real question I'm trying to ask. Like, I don't really care how popular it is. However, this should probably still be a factor.
I'm back. Are we wrapping up?
Yeah, we're calling it. And I guess like a next time we're probably gonna like talk about a rebalancing, especially like for this number.
Yeah,
the effect on culture.
Think we need to get Majora's Mask out of here.
If anything, that'll help Majora's Mask. So, yep. Whenever we reconvene next time, the next 30 years or so.
Hey, I'm surprised we even did another episode this week.
Hey, you know, it was quicker. Sundays seem to be a good day to do it. Just it's a light day. Good lord, do I have to make like a fucking different intro for this now, just for this specifically. I definitely would recommend Killer 7. Yeah, I would recommend it too, honestly. Like it's definitely seems like it's
That's where it's like Donkey Kong 94 and Killer 7, and I'm sure Stat thinks the same with Gomon too.
I'd recommend Xenoblade, and I would recommend you play Goemon. However,
the problem then is like what games aren't bangers.
Yeah, I don't want everything. I mean, that's gonna be the point when we start running out of games, is the thing. Because I just want like the top of the food chain to be making this list.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's like, oh, I can't. Like Killer 7 is one I thought would make it, and I'm a little disappointed, but that's okay.
It's only up by 2.
I know, and it's.
What did Donkey Kong fall down by?
Donkey Kong was 75.
Wow.
Xenoblade.
And that was because
76.
we gave it like a 1 or something for.
Oh right, the culture.
But even then, like even if he like nipped this, but it would have to make up its points somewhere else. But yeah, that'll be the discussion for next time, I suppose. Just it is a chill stream, just a nice.
We kill it.
Yeah, we're gonna next time we regroup, we're gonna go on the gaming culture percentage. We're gonna go back to the percentages.
Oh, are we gonna go back to numerology?
More numerology.
Can't escape it.
We're going back to numerology.
We're going back to litigation.
Yes, we are.
Donkey Kong 94 did not make it. It's all because of this effect on gaming culture thing.
Right.
I guess.
I think we should just blanket add 5 points to every
game that I like.
Right. And
all right, then.
For every 5 points we add, we subtract 5 points from Majora's Mask score.
So what you're saying is, so Sonic Adventure 2 will soon be Sonic Adventure 1. I mean, will soon be a banger.
Sure.
What you're saying is the Nokia N-Gage is the best console of the
I would say Majora's Mask is the N-Gage of games. Yes.
Because the thing is, okay, so my reason why I don't want to go back and redo the score is because we've already scored all these other games, and it's like we've already decided this. Like we've already decided these are the numbers, and like, being fair, we're off air, right? We are completely off air.
No.
No.
Jesus Christ.
We're not okay. The thing about so the only thing I'm gonna say.
Want to sign off and then?
No. I'll say this out loud. I'm just gonna use the right names. The thing about the numerology is Stat put his thumb on the scale with some of the stuff because it is his document. Like we have to be honest about like this is a stream. This is his YouTube channel. You know, we are guests. I understand that, and so some of these things like. All of these ratings are to some degree, just like any rating or any criticism or any of this, is to some extent arbitrary. So both the categories and the numbers that we put on them, no matter what we do, we're going to find things that we're going to go back in retrospect and be like, I don't like the way this worked out for these games. So I don't feel like we're like, look, Killer 7 not making it onto this list is heartbreaking. Like it really, like of all of these games, you know, Killer 7, the N-Gage, and Sonic Adventure are probably
the 3 biggest losses.
Killer 7 being not on this like hurts, but I also understand why it's not there because you're right. It's not
relevant to the
it's
gaming
not
culture.
relevant to the gaming. It's not relevant to the gaming culture. It's not. And when we looked at GTA San Andreas all those months ago, we agreed that should be a rating because we needed a rating that would get GTA San Andreas onto this list.
It's true.
Remember?
Right.
I need to do we?
Yeah,
this is
right.
where I wish I could have like a how did it break down almost. So
we do
go back and
have video
look at
evidence.
I would
we
like
recorded it all actually.
Yeah.
No. This is all. I burned the books. It's fine. So I only wish there was a way for me to go back. If only I had some kind of way for me to go back and look at the numbers.
I don't think you're very good at this YouTube thing. I don't think you're supposed to do it that way.
You don't just delete the stream when you're done? That's what I do.
No.
One episode, and then the next one comes out, and the old one just deleted.
I'm deleting this one the moment we're done.
One thing. So, I would like to go back and look at what we gave God Hand because in my head it was like a 7, and I've kind of been measuring every game to God Hand since. And like, is Killer 7 less relevant than God Hand?
No.
Because that's what we said.
But also
Like-
sorry.
So maybe we were under giving points this time. Like if we weren't really using the 15-point scale to its max, because it seems like everything has been like a 1 to 5, or a 13 to 15. And maybe there's a bunch of numbers we could have been using to, save Donkey Kong 94 and Killer 7. Possibly even
I
Xenoblade.
definitely, this isn't something that is going to be quick or something that we figure out in a day. And I'm definitely prepared to do that. This is like something we have to kind of realize, is the scale good? This was like our starting, let's see how this works. And thus far it had been. And then today is the first day that's kind of made us put it into question. So I'm definitely always open for like refining it until it's the best it can be, but then also putting a cap on how much refining we do. But this is also just like the beta list where we.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
See what we gave God Hand. Go ahead.
Is my mic peaking? Because I see my little thing flashing on Discord a bunch.
No.
Am I like?
I did hear Stat's voice through your mic.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
that's
I can kind of hear myself like twice. And I
I'm
hate
wearing
that.
headphones though. That's very strange.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
hearing
it's
double.
strange.
Is it me?
No, I heard it too.
Am I talking through?
Yeah.
Oh, it's using my
Oh, no.
headset mic. I'm
Oh
sorry.
yeah, it is.
Hold on. Has
Oh.
it been using my headset mic the whole? Oh God, I'm a terrible. You should ban me from this. They should get someone else to do this.
So if you
Fine.
want to be a replacement for Ryan, go ahead and
Yeah,
contact Ryan, and then
Contact
he'll.
me. unless you were born in 1930. Or if you were and you have a really good sound setup, like I'm not saying it's impossible. Hold on, we're gonna go devices.
So we gave God Hand a 6, and so is Killer 7 a 6?
Higher than a 6?
Is it a 7? That is the number in the title.
This fucking
But then I think the thing is like God Hand still comes up, and it's like still has its. I mean, Killer 7, I'm sure still has like its cult following, but I don't hear this thing brought up like a lot. So I feel like I hear
certainly,
about God Hand like offhand more definitely than Killer 7.
But that's because God Hand fans are loud, and Killer 7 fans are cultured. I'm both, by the way.
I am too. That's definitely not true. Voice and video. Okay. Guess what, guys? My mic was unplugged this whole stream.
Yes.
I was using the headset mic that's attached, so I should sound pretty different now.
Yeah, that sounds. You sound very, very chocolate.
Is that a compliment coming from you?
Maybe.
Okay.
It's the
I don't. So okay. I don't really, like I said, I don't really want to tweak this too much because again, we've made these decisions already, and no matter how we tweak this list, games that we want to get onto the list aren't going to make it.
Should lose.
Yeah.
Which that's not. I'm not against that. I don't think
but
every
I
game we
want
should
games-
suggest.
I want games that Stat likes to lose, and I want games that I like.
That's the problem. We can't do that. We have to hold
Yeah.
ourselves to something. Death
mean,
I
Stranding.
want to be impartial.
Death Stranding cannot make it onto this list.
What are you talking
Can't.
about? It totally can. Watch
It
this.
fucking can't.
Stat, give me another 30 minutes. I'm gonna get Death Stranding.
All right,
All right.
so
Good night.
Are we having fun yet?